The blind date was supposed to save him. Instead, Noah Jensen watched a woman in a wheelchair roll through the cafe door, see his face, and burst into tears. "Please leave before you have to pretend to like me," she signed desperately. The entire coffee shop fell silent. He'd been tricked. She'd been lied to. Two broken people set up to fail, but what happened next would change everything. Stay with us until the end of this story, and comment what city you're watching from. We want to see how far this journey travels. The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days in Seattle, and Noah Jensen was starting to think it never would. He sat in his truck outside Haven Brew Cafe on Pike Street, staring through the rain-streaked windshield at the warm glow inside. His hands gripped the steering wheel so tight his knuckles had gone white. He'd been sitting here for 10 minutes, working up the nerve to go inside. "This is stupid," he muttered to himself. "This is so incredibly stupid." His phone buzzed on the passenger seat. Another text from Marcus. "You better not be chickening out. She's perfect for you. Just give it a chance." Noah closed his eyes and let his head fall back against the headrest. Marcus had been his best friend since college, and for the past 6 months, he'd been relentlessly trying to set Noah up on dates. Every single one had been a disaster. There was the woman who spent the entire dinner talking about her ex-husband, the one who asked if his daughter came with baggage, the one who actually said out loud that she admired his strength for dealing with being a widower, as if Emma's death was something he was dealing with, as if grief was a problem to be managed and moved past. But Marcus wouldn't let it go. "You can't stay alone forever, man. Mia needs to see you happy. Emma would want you to be happy." Noah hated when people told him what Emma would want. They didn't know. They hadn't known her, not really. They hadn't known how she laughed so hard at her own jokes that she'd snort, or how she'd wake up at 2 a.m. to write down story ideas, or how she'd made him promise, made him swear on everything, that he'd live fully after she was gone. "Don't you dare become a ghost," she'd whispered in those final weeks, her voice barely audible over the hospital machines. "Don't you dare stop living just because I have to." 3 years. It had been 3 years, and he still felt like a ghost. "Okay," he said aloud, forcing himself to open the truck door. "Okay, 1 hour. You can survive 1 hour." The cafe was busier than he'd expected for a Thursday afternoon. The smell of coffee and cinnamon hit him as soon as he stepped inside, along with a wave of warmth that made his rain-soaked jacket feel suddenly stifling. He scanned the room, looking for someone who might be his date. Marcus had been annoyingly vague about details. "Her name's Harper. She's smart, funny, and she needs someone genuine. You'll recognize each other." How the hell was he supposed to recognize someone he'd never met? He checked his phone. 2:58 p.m. He was early. He found a table near the window with a good view of the door, ordered a black coffee from a barista with purple hair and too many piercings, and tried to look like someone who wasn't dreading every second of his existence. The coffee was too hot. He burned his tongue on the first sip and cursed under his breath. "Smooth, Noah," he muttered. "Really smooth." His phone buzzed again. Marcus, of course. "Don't forget to smile. You have a great smile. Use it." Noah didn't respond. He watched the rain sliding down the window, watched people hurrying past with umbrellas and hoods pulled up, watched the barista laugh at something her coworker said. Normal life, normal people doing normal things. He used to be normal. At exactly 3:02 p.m., the door opened and time seemed to slow down. A woman rolled through the entrance in a sleek black wheelchair, shaking rain from her dark hair. She was younger than he'd expected, maybe late 20s, with sharp cheekbones and eyes that swept the cafe with a mixture of nervousness and resignation. She wore a forest green jacket over a simple white shirt, and there was something about the way she held herself, straight-backed, chin up, that suggested she was used to people staring. Noah found himself staring too, but not for the reasons she probably expected. She was looking for someone. Her eyes moved from table to table, and he could see her hands clenching and unclenching on the armrests of her chair. She looked scared. No, not scared. Braced, like she was preparing for impact. Their eyes met. For a split second, Noah saw something flicker across her face. Hope, maybe, or recognition. But then her gaze dropped to his legs, to his hands resting on the table, to his very obviously able body, and her entire expression crumbled. The color drained from her face. Her mouth opened slightly, then closed. Her hands flew up, and she started signing, fast, desperate movements that Noah couldn't understand at first. Then he realized she was crying. Not quiet tears. Not polite, dabbing at the eyes crying. Her whole face was contorting with the effort of holding back sobs, and her hands were moving frantically, signing the same phrase over and over. Noah had taken ASL classes. Years ago, when Emma had gone through a phase of wanting to learn every language, they'd taken a community course together. He was rusty, but he understood enough. Please leave before you have to pretend to like me. Please just leave. The cafe had gone quiet. Everyone was looking now. A couple at the next table had stopped mid-conversation. The barista with purple hair was frozen with a coffee pot in her hand. Even the espresso machine seemed to have quieted, as if the whole world was holding its breath. Noah's heart was hammering in his chest. Every instinct screamed at him to do exactly what she was asking, to leave, to escape this awful moment, to pretend this had never happened. But he couldn't move, because he understood. He understood the look on her face, the certainty that she was about to be rejected, the desperate plea for him to just get it over with, to not make her sit through the pity and the awkward excuses and the eventual, inevitable goodbye. He'd seen that same look in his own mirror for 3 years. Slowly, carefully, Noah stood up. Harper's hand stilled, and her eyes squeezed shut. She was waiting for him to walk past her, to leave her sitting there in front of everyone. Instead, he pulled out the chair across from his table and turned it to face away, making space. Then he looked at her and signed, clumsily, uncertainly, but he signed, "I'm staying." Harper's eyes flew open. "What?" she said aloud, her voice strangely pitched, the way people who can't hear themselves often sound. Then she signed again, more urgently. "You don't understand. I'm not... My friend lied. She said you were..." Noah held up a hand and signed back. "My friend lied too." The confusion on Harper's face was almost comical. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. She glanced at the door, then back at him, then at the space he'd made at his table. "I don't understand," she said aloud, her words slightly slurred but understandable. "You don't want to be here." Noah pulled out his phone and typed quickly, then held it up so she could read. "Neither do you. But we're both already soaking wet, and I already burned my tongue on bad coffee. Might as well be miserable together for an hour." For a long moment, Harper just stared at him. Then, so unexpectedly that it startled them both, she laughed. It was a strange laugh, too loud and abrupt, but it was genuine. Slowly, uncertainly, she rolled forward to the table. The cafe seemed to exhale collectively, and the normal sounds of conversation and coffee-making resumed. The barista with purple hair came over immediately. "What can I get you?" she asked Harper, but her eyes were kind, not pitying. Harper pointed at the menu, then held up 2 fingers and mimicked drinking. "A large latte?" the barista confirmed. "Coming right up, honey." After she left, Noah and Harper sat in awkward silence. He could see her hands trembling slightly on her lap. She wouldn't quite meet his eyes. He signed, "Start over?" She looked up, startled. He extended his hand across the table. "Noah Jensen," he said clearly, knowing she could read his lips. "Single dad, terrible at blind dates, pushed into this by a well-meaning friend who doesn't know when to quit." For a moment, Harper just looked at his hand. Then slowly, she reached out and shook it. Her grip was surprisingly strong. "Harper Lynn," she said aloud, watching his face carefully to make sure he understood. "Deaf. Paralyzed from the waist down. Also terrible at blind dates. Also pushed into this by a friend who apparently thought lying was a great strategy." Noah felt something ease in his chest. "What did your friend tell you?" Harper pulled out her own phone and typed. She said she met someone at her disability support group, someone who understood what it was like, someone who wouldn't see me as a charity case. She showed me a picture, but it must have been fake. I thought... She stopped typing, her jaw clenching. Noah waited. "I thought I'd be meeting someone who wouldn't run away when they saw me." The words hit him like a physical blow. He typed back, "My friend told me you were perfect for me, but didn't mention anything about you being deaf or using a wheelchair. I think he was afraid I'd say no." Harper's eyes widened. "Would you have?" Noah considered lying, then decided these two strangers who'd been thrown together by deceitful friends deserved honesty. I don't know, probably. Not because of you, I don't know you, but because I've said no to everything for 3 years. 3 years? My wife died. Cancer. Left me with our daughter. She's 7 now. Everyone thinks I need to move on. That's code for start dating so we can stop feeling uncomfortable about your grief. Harper read his message twice, then typed, I'm sorry, God, that's awful. It is, but that's not your problem. No, but I understand. Do you? Harper's fingers hovered over her phone for a long moment. Then she started typing, and the message came through in several parts. My fiancé left me 4 months after my accident. Car crash 3 years ago. I was driving. Drunk driver ran a red light. I woke up in the hospital and couldn't feel my legs. Lost most of my hearing from the head trauma. My fiancé stayed at first. Said all the right things, but I could see it in his eyes. I'd become a burden. One day, he just didn't come to the rehab center. Texted me later that he couldn't do this. Jesus. Yeah. So I get it. The pity. The people who think you need to be fixed. The ones who set you up on dates because surely someone will take pity on you. Noah found himself nodding. The barista brought Harper's latte, and she wrapped her hands around the cup like it was a lifeline. They sat in silence for a while. Not the awkward kind, but something heavier, more honest. Finally, Noah signed, This is the worst blind date setup I've ever heard of. Harper laughed again, that too loud bark of laughter that made a few people glance over. She signed back. Same. What were they thinking? That we're both pathetic and desperate? Probably. Noah took a sip of his now lukewarm coffee. So what do we do now? Harper watched his lips, then typed. We could leave. Pretend this never happened. Block our friends and move to different cities. I've lived in Seattle my whole life. I'm not moving. Fine, I'll move. You stay. Very generous of you. Harper smiled, actually smiled, and it transformed her entire face. Or, she said aloud, her voice stronger now, we could have coffee, as two people who got tricked but are here anyway. Not a date, Noah clarified. God, no, just coffee. Just coffee. With two people who apparently have terrible friends. The worst friends. Harper raised her latte cup. To terrible friends? Noah clinked his coffee cup against hers. To terrible friends. And just like that, something shifted. The weight in the room seemed to lift just a little. They both took sips of their drinks, and the silence that followed wasn't uncomfortable anymore. So, Noah said, making sure she could see his face, tell me what happened. The whole story of how you ended up here. Harper set down her cup and pulled out her phone, but Noah shook his head. Out loud, he said, if you're comfortable, I'll stop you if I don't understand. Harper looked surprised, then skeptical. You sure? Your voice is fine. You haven't heard it much yet. So let me hear it. Harper studied him for a moment, as if trying to figure out if he was being genuine or just polite. Whatever she saw in his face must have convinced her because she took a breath and started talking. Her voice was unusual, the pitch sometimes off, the rhythm not quite natural, but Noah found himself leaning forward, focusing intently on every word. My friend Jasmine, Harper began, has been trying to set me up for months. She means well, but she's exhausting. Every time I see her, it's, Harper, you need to get out more. And Harper, you can't let one asshole define your life. And Harper, I met this guy who's perfect for you. Noah smiled. Sounds like Marcus. This time, she said she'd met someone at her disability support group. She has MS, and that he was kind and funny and understood what it's like. She showed me a photo on her phone just for a second. Said his name was Nathan, or Noah, or something. Dark hair, nice smile. She said he'd specifically asked to meet someone who wouldn't treat him differently because of his disability. Noah felt his stomach sink. She catfished you? I guess so. The photo must have been you, or someone who looked like you, but she lied about everything else. Made me think I was meeting someone who'd understand, someone who wouldn't see the wheelchair first. Harper's hands clenched around her cup. I should have known better. It sounded too good to be true. It's not your fault, isn't it? I'm the idiot who believed her. No, Noah said firmly. You're someone who hoped for something good. That's not the same as being an idiot. Harper blinked rapidly, and for a moment Noah thought she might start crying again. Instead, she signed, "Thank you." "Your turn," she said aloud. "What's your story?" Noah sighed and ran a hand through his still damp hair. "Marcus has been on a mission to get me to date since about 6 months after Emma died. At first I told him to back off, but he's persistent. He set me up with at least a dozen women. None of them worked out." "Why not?" "Because—" Noah paused, trying to find the right words. "Because they all looked at me like I was broken. Like I was this sad project they could fix. Or they'd ask about Emma, and I could see them mentally comparing themselves to her. Or they'd be weirdly intense about Mia, like if they could win over my daughter, they'd win me. It was exhausting." "So why did you come today?" "Because Marcus promised this time was different. He said you were someone who'd understand loss, someone who wasn't looking for a project or a pity case." Noah laughed bitterly. "Guess he was right, just not in the way he thought." "What did he tell you about me?" "Just your first name and that you were smart and funny. That's it. No mention of anything else." Harper's expression darkened. "Because he knew you'd say no." "Maybe. Or maybe he genuinely thought—" Noah trailed off, shaking his head. "I don't know what he thought." They fell silent again, watching the rain hammer against the window. The cafe was warm and bright, but outside the world looked gray and endless. "Can I ask you something?" Noah said finally. Harper nodded. "When you came through that door and saw me, what went through your mind?" Harper didn't answer right away. She stared down at her latte, her jaw working. When she finally spoke, her voice was so quiet he had to lean forward to hear. "I thought, here we go again, another person who's going to smile and be polite, and then find an excuse to leave. I thought you'd take one look at me and all you'd see was the wheelchair and the hearing aids and you'd immediately be planning your escape." She looked up, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "I didn't want to watch it happen. I couldn't. So I tried to give you an out, to make it easier for both of us, by asking me to leave before I could reject you." "Yes." "Harper," Noah chose his words carefully, "I'm not going to pretend I know what it's like to be you. I don't. But I know what it's like to have people look at you and see only your tragedy. I know what it's like to be someone's good deed or challenge, and I would never, ever want to make someone else feel that way." "But you did think about leaving. For about 2 seconds, yeah. Because this whole situation is awkward as hell, and I hate blind dates, and I really, really hate being manipulated by well-meaning friends." He met her eyes. "But I didn't think about leaving because of you. The wheelchair, the hearing aids, that's not what made this awkward. The lies are what made it awkward." Harper studied his face for a long moment, as if trying to determine whether he was telling the truth. "You really mean that?" "I really do. That's a first." "What is?" "Someone actually staying and meaning it." The raw vulnerability in her voice made Noah's chest ache. He thought about all the people who must have left Harper, not just her ex-fiancé, but friends, family, strangers who turned away. He thought about all the times she must have rolled into rooms and watched people's expressions change, all the times she'd been reduced to her disability, to people's discomfort and pity. "Their loss," he said simply. Harper's eyes widened. "What? Anyone who left you because of this?" He gestured vaguely at her wheelchair. "That's their loss, not yours. You don't know me. No. But I know enough. I know you showed up today even though you were scared. I know you tried to save me from an awkward situation even though you were the one hurting. I know you're sitting here talking to a stranger instead of running away, which is probably what I would have done." He smiled. "So yeah, their loss." Harper opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again. No words came out. She just stared at him with an expression Noah couldn't quite read. Surprise, maybe, or disbelief, or something else entirely. Finally, she signed, "You're either the nicest person I've ever met, or the best liar." Noah signed back, "I'm terrible at lying. Ask Marcus. I once tried to throw him a surprise party, and accidentally told him about it the day before." That startled laugh again, Too loud and too sudden, making the couple at the next table look over. Harper clapped a hand over her mouth, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "Tell me more," she said aloud. "Tell me about your terrible surprise party planning." So Noah told her. He told her about Marcus's 30th birthday, about how Emma had been the one who wanted to throw the surprise party, how Noah had been terrible at keeping secrets. He told her about how he'd accidentally mentioned the thing on Saturday, and when Marcus asked what thing, Noah had panicked and blurted out, "Your party."
Emma was so mad, he said, smiling at the memory. She made me sleep on the couch that night, said I had the subtlety of a foghorn. She sounds amazing, Harper said softly. She was. Noah felt the familiar ache in his chest, but pushed through it. She was bossy and loud, and she laughed at her own jokes before she even told them. She made friends with everyone, grocery store clerks, bus drivers, random people at the park. She could talk to anyone about anything. You must miss her terribly. Every day. Noah took a breath. But it's getting not easier exactly, just different. The grief isn't as sharp as it used to be. Now it's more like, he struggled for the words. Like a weight you carry? Harper offered. Like you get used to it being there, but it never really goes away? Noah looked at her in surprise. Yeah, exactly like that. That's what my accident feels like, the loss of who I was before.
I don't think about it every second anymore, but it's always there. This awareness that everything is different now. They sat with that for a moment. Two people who'd learned to carry weight that never got lighter, only more familiar. Tell me about your daughter, Harper said, changing the subject. Mia, right? Noah's whole face softened. Mia's 7, going on 17. She's stubborn and smart, and she asks about 1,000,000 questions a day. She wants to be a scientist when she grows up, or a vet, or an astronaut. It changes weekly. She sounds wonderful. She is. She's also exhausting. Last week she decided to invent a new type of sandwich and used every condiment in the fridge. It was horrifying. Harper laughed. What was in it? Peanut butter, mustard, pickles, and gummy bears. Oh my God. She made me try it, said I couldn't judge without trying. Noah shuddered dramatically. It was exactly as terrible as you'd imagine. Did she eat it? 3 bites. Then she declared it needs more work and moved on to trying to build a robot out of cardboard boxes. Harper's smile was genuine now, warm and open. She sounds like she keeps you busy. She does. Some days I feel like I'm barely keeping up, but she's... Noah's voice caught. She's the reason I'm still here. The reason I didn't completely fall apart after Emma died. I had to keep going for her. That's beautiful, Harper signed, because some things felt too big for words. They talked for another hour, the conversation flowing more easily than Noah would have believed possible an hour ago. Harper told him about her work as a graphic designer, how she'd had to completely reinvent her career after the accident when she could no longer commute to an office. She told him about learning to navigate the world from a wheelchair, about the things people said without thinking, about the surprising moments of kindness from strangers. Noah told her about being a single parent, about the guilt he felt when he snapped at Mia because he was too tired, about the way she sometimes asked questions about her mom that he didn't know how to answer. He told her about his job as an architect, about the projects that excited him, about the weird clients who wanted impossible things. They talked about Seattle, how they both loved it despite the rain, or maybe because of it, about favorite restaurants and parks, and the weird little bookstore on Capitol Hill that sold used books and homemade jam. It was the barista with purple hair who finally interrupted them. Hey guys, I hate to do this, but we're closing in 10 minutes. Noah checked his phone and was shocked to see it was nearly 6 p.m. They'd been talking for 3 hours. Oh God, Harper said, looking equally surprised. I didn't realize. Me neither. They gathered their things in silence, the easy comfort of the last few hours suddenly awkward again. This was the moment where dates ended, where people said this was nice and promised to call and then never did. Noah walked Harper to the door, then stepped outside with her into the rain. His truck was parked across the street. He couldn't see where Harper had parked. This was... Harper started, then stopped. She pulled out her phone and typed. This was unexpected. Noah typed back. Good unexpected or bad unexpected? I honestly don't know yet. Fair enough? They stood there in the rain, neither quite willing to leave first. Finally, Harper typed, "Thank you for not leaving, for staying even when it was awkward and terrible. Thank you for letting me stay. Our friends are probably expecting us to hate each other. Oh, definitely. Marcus is going to be insufferable when I tell him what happened." Harper smiled. "Jasmine, too. She'll want all the details." "What are you going to tell her?" Harper thought for a moment, then typed, "That she's a terrible matchmaker, but I'm glad she dragged me here anyway." Noah felt something warm unfold in his chest. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure. Would you want to, I don't know, maybe do this again sometime? The coffee thing. Not a date. Just two people with terrible friends who accidentally had a good conversation." Harper stared at his message for a long moment. Noah watched her face, trying to read her expression. She looked uncertain, hopeful, scared, all the things he felt too. Then she typed, "Are you sure? You don't have to. I know this whole thing was weird and our friends are manipulative and you probably want to forget this ever happened. I'm sure. No pressure though, if you'd rather not." "I would. I'd like that," Harper typed quickly, as if afraid she'd lose her nerve. "But I need you to understand something first. Okay, this," she gestured at herself, at the wheelchair, "is permanent. I'm not going to get better or walk again or suddenly hear perfectly. This is who I am now. And if we're going to be friends, even just coffee friends, you need to be okay with that. Really okay with it. Not just saying you're okay while you're secretly hoping I'll change." Noah read her message twice, understanding the weight behind every word. This was Harper protecting herself, setting boundaries, making sure he knew what he was signing up for. He knelt down in the rain so they were at eye level, ignoring the water soaking through his jeans. "I understand," he said clearly, making sure she could read his lips. "And I'm not here because I think you need to change. I'm here because in the last 3 hours, I had the first real conversation I've had with anyone in 3 years. You didn't treat me like a charity case or a sad widower who needs cheering up. You just talked to me like I was a person." Harper's eyes were bright with tears again. "That's all I want too, to be seen as a person first. Then that's what we'll be, two people who get coffee and complain about their manipulative friends." "Just friends?" "Just friends," Noah confirmed. I'm not ready for anything more than that. And I'm guessing you're not either." "No, not even close." "Good. So this is easy. No pressure, no expectations, just coffee." "Just coffee," Harper repeated, a smile tugging at her lips. Noah stood up, his knees protesting. He was going to be soaked and sore tomorrow, but he didn't care. He pulled out his phone and typed, "Can I have your number to set up the next coffee thing?" Harper typed in her number, then sent herself a text so she'd have his. Her phone buzzed in her lap, and she saved his contact. "When are you free?" she asked. "Most evenings after I pick up Mia from school. Weekends are good too." "Next Saturday? Same place?" "It's a date." "Wait, no, not a date. A coffee meeting. A friend meeting." Harper laughed. "A coffee friend meeting. Perfect." They stood there for another moment, neither quite ready to leave. The rain had soaked through Noah's jacket completely, and Harper's dark hair was plastered to her face, but neither of them moved. "I should go," Harper finally said aloud. "My van is down the block and I'm going to be completely drenched." "You need help getting there?" "No, I've got it, but thank you." "Text me when you get home safe?" Harper looked surprised. "Okay, yeah, I will." "Okay, I'll see you Saturday." "See you Saturday." Noah watched as Harper rolled down the sidewalk, maneuvering around puddles and debris with practiced ease. At the corner, she turned and waved. He waved back. Then she was gone, disappearing around the building, and Noah was left standing alone in the rain outside Haven Brew Cafe, feeling something he hadn't felt in 3 years. Hope. He got in his truck and drove home in a daze. His phone rang twice. Marcus, no doubt calling to get all the details. But Noah ignored it. He wasn't ready to talk about what had just happened. He wasn't even sure he could explain it. When he pulled up to his small house in Wallingford, his mother's car was in the driveway. She'd been watching Mia for him. Noah took a deep breath, trying to prepare himself for the inevitable questions, then headed inside. "Daddy!" Mia launched herself at him before he even got his shoes off, wrapping her arms around his waist. "You're all wet." "It's raining, Bug," Noah said, kissing the top of her head. "How was your day?" "Good. Grandma and I made cookies and I only burned 3 of them, and we watched a movie about dolphins, and did you know that dolphins sleep with one eye open?" "That's so weird, Daddy. Why would they do that?" "To watch for predators, probably. But that means they're always tired. That's not fair." Noah's mother, Anne, appeared in the kitchen doorway with a knowing smile. "How was your coffee date?" "It wasn't a date," Noah said automatically. "Marcus said it was a date." "Marcus is a meddling pain in my—" Noah glanced at Mia and caught himself. "A meddling pain? So it went badly?" "No, actually, it was good. Weird, but good." Anne's eyebrows rose. "Weird how?" "Long story. I'll tell you later." Noah looked down at Mia, who was watching him with sharp, intelligent eyes. "Did you eat dinner?" "Grandma made spaghetti, but I told her you make it better." "I appreciate the loyalty, Bug, but Grandma's spaghetti is excellent." "Yours is better," Anne laughed. "She's got you wrapped around her finger." "Always has," Noah admitted. After Anne left, Noah helped Mia with her homework and got her ready for bed. Their nightly routine was comfortable and familiar: brushing teeth, finding the right stuffed animals, reading 2 chapters from whatever book they were working through. Tonight it was The Wild Robot, and Mia interrupted every other sentence with questions. "Daddy, if you were a robot, what would you want to do?" "I don't know. Build things, probably." "Boring. I'd want to fly." "Robots can't fly, Bug." "Some can. I saw it on YouTube." "YouTube is not a reliable source for robot information." "Yes, it is." After he'd read the required 2 chapters and answered approximately 47 questions about robot capabilities, Noah kissed Mia's forehead and turned off the light. "Daddy?" Mia's voice was small in the darkness. "Yeah, Bug." "Are you happy?" The question caught Noah off guard. "What do you mean?" "Grandma says you're sad a lot." "Because of Mommy." Noah sat back down on the edge of her bed. "I miss your mom very much," he said carefully. "But I'm not sad all the time. I'm happy when I'm with you. But not other times. Sometimes other times, too." "Were you happy today at your coffee thing?" Noah thought about Harper, about their 3-hour conversation, about the way it felt to talk to someone who understood. "Yeah," he said softly. "I was happy today." "Good." Mia's voice was already drowsy. "You should be happy more." "I'll work on it, Bug. Go to sleep." "Love you, Daddy." "Love you too." Noah sat in the dark for a few minutes after Mia's breathing evened out, thinking about her question. Was he happy? He honestly didn't know. He was less sad, maybe. Less hollow. Today had felt different. Lighter somehow, despite the rain and the awkward beginning. His phone buzzed with a text. "Harper. Home safe. Thanks for today. Even though our friends are terrible people." Noah smiled and typed back, "They really are. See you Saturday?" "Saturday. Don't be late, wouldn't dream of it." He stared at the message thread for a moment, then added, "Thank you for giving me a chance, for not running away." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, "Same to you." Noah set his phone down and leaned back in Mia's desk chair, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars on her ceiling. Emma had put those up when they'd first moved into this house, back when Mia was barely 2. They'd stood on a wobbly stepladder together, Emma laughing as Noah warned her to be careful, both of them covered in phosphorescent paint by the time they were done. "I think she'd like Harper," Noah whispered to the stars. "I think you'd tell me to stop overthinking and just be friends with her." The stars, of course, didn't answer, but somehow Noah felt a little lighter anyway. Outside, the rain finally stopped. The clouds began to part, revealing glimpses of stars. Real ones this time, not plastic. And for the first time in 3 years, Noah let himself think that maybe, just maybe, things might actually be okay. Saturday couldn't come soon enough. The week crawled by with agonizing slowness. Noah found himself checking his phone more than usual.
reading and rereading the few texts he and Harper had exchanged. They were mundane messages, Harper sending him a meme about Seattle weather, Noah sharing a photo of Mia's latest invention, a hat made entirely of pipe cleaners. But each one made him smile in a way he hadn't smiled in years. Marcus, predictably, would not let it go. "So you're telling me," Marcus said over lunch on Tuesday, "that you sat in a coffee shop for 3 hours with a woman and didn't consider it a date?" "It wasn't a date," Noah insisted, stabbing at his salad. "We were both tricked into being there. We just decided to make the best of it." "For 3 hours. We were talking. About what? Life? Stuff? I don't know, Marcus. Normal conversation topics." Marcus leaned back in his chair, studying Noah with an expression that made Noah want to throw his fork at him. "You like her." "I don't know her well enough to like her." "But you want to know her." Noah hesitated, and that was all the confirmation Marcus needed. His face split into a triumphant grin. "I knew it! I knew you two would hit it off." "You also lied to both of us about what to expect, so I'm not sure you get to claim victory here," Noah pointed out. "Minor details." "You catfished us, Marcus. That's not minor." Marcus had the decency to look slightly sheepish. "Okay, yeah, that wasn't my finest moment. But it worked, didn't it? You're seeing her again. As friends, for coffee. It's not a romantic thing. Yet. Ever. We both made that very clear. We're not looking for relationships. We're just two people who had a decent conversation and decided not to be strangers." "Keep telling yourself that, man." Noah wanted to argue, but the truth was more complicated than he was willing to admit to Marcus, or to himself. He wasn't attracted to Harper, not in the traditional sense. He wasn't thinking about kissing her, or dating her, or any of the things that usually came with meeting someone new, but there was something there, something that pulled at him. A recognition, maybe. A sense that she understood parts of him that most people couldn't see. That evening, while Mia was doing homework at the kitchen table, Noah's phone buzzed with a text from Harper. Random question. "Does Mia like art?" Noah typed back, "She loves it." "Why?" "There's a kids' art workshop at the community center near me this Saturday afternoon. Free, all ages. I volunteer there sometimes. Thought maybe she'd enjoy it?" Noah stared at the message, uncertain how to interpret it. Was Harper suggesting they bring Mia to their coffee meeting? Was she trying to include his daughter? Or was this just a friendly suggestion, separate from their plans? "That sounds great." "What time?" 4 p.m. "Our coffee thing is at 10, right? So it wouldn't overlap." "Right." Noah hesitated, then added, "Would you want to meet her?" "Mia, I mean. No pressure, but if you're going to be there anyway." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Appeared again. Noah could practically see Harper debating with herself. Finally, "Are you sure? That seems like a big step for just coffee friends." "You're right. Forget I mentioned it." "No, wait, I didn't say no. I just want to make sure you're comfortable with it." "I am. Mia's my whole world. If we're going to be friends, you'll probably meet her eventually anyway." "Okay. Then, yes, I'd like to meet her." Noah felt something warm bloom in his chest. Fair warning, she asks about 1,000,000 questions and has zero filter. Sounds perfect. I'll see you both Saturday. "Daddy, who are you texting?" Mia asked, looking up from her math worksheet with curious eyes. "You're smiling weird." "I'm not smiling weird." "Yes, you are. You have your happy face on." Noah hadn't realized he was smiling. "I'm texting a friend. How's homework going?" "Terrible. Math is stupid." "Math is not stupid. You're going to need math when you're a scientist, astronaut, veterinarian." "I don't want to be that anymore. I want to be an artist now." "An artist? Since when?" "Since right now." "Can I stop doing math and draw instead?" "Nice try, bug. Finish your worksheet first, then you can draw." Mia groaned dramatically, but bent back over her homework. Noah watched her for a moment. This fierce little person who looked so much like Emma, it sometimes hurt to breathe. She had Emma's dark curls, Emma's stubborn chin, Emma's way of scrunching up her nose when she concentrated. "Hey, Bug," Noah said. "How would you feel about going to an art workshop on Saturday?" Mia's head shot up. "Really? Like with paints and stuff?" "Yeah, exactly like that. It's at a community center all afternoon." "Can I make whatever I want?" I think so. Even if it's weird? Especially if it's weird. Mia's face lit up. Yes!
I want to go. Can I bring my sketchbook? Sure. And there's going to be someone there I want you to meet. Her name is Harper. She's a friend of mine. Mia's eyes narrowed suspiciously. What kind of friend? Just a regular friend. We met for coffee last week. Is she your girlfriend? No, Bug, just a friend. But she's a girl. Yes, but not all girls who are friends are girlfriends. That's not how it works. Grandma says you need a girlfriend. Noah made a mental note to have a conversation with his mother about appropriate topics to discuss with 7-year-olds. Grandma says a lot of things. So Harper is nice? She seems nice, yeah. I don't know her very well yet. That's why we're spending time together, to get to know each other. Mia considered this, her face serious. Okay, I'll meet her, but if she's mean, I'm going to tell her to leave. That's fair, but I don't think she's mean. Good. Can I finish my drawing now? I did all the math. Noah checked her worksheet and was impressed to see she'd actually completed it, albeit with some creative interpretations of the word completed. Go ahead, Bug. As Mia rushed off to get her art supplies, Noah's phone buzzed again. This time it was his mother. Marcus told me your coffee date went well. Noah sighed. Of course Marcus had called his mother. It wasn't a date, Mom. And yes, it was nice. Are you seeing her again? Coffee on Saturday, as friends. That's wonderful, honey. I'm so happy for you. Don't make it into something it's not. We're just two people who get along. That's how the best relationships start. Mom. Okay, I'll stop. But Noah. What? It's okay to be happy, to let someone in. Emma would want that for you. Noah stared at the message for a long time before responding. I know. I'm working on it. That's all anyone can ask. Love you. Love you too. The rest of the week passed in a blur of work and parenting and trying not to overthink Saturday. Noah caught himself planning his outfit on Friday night, then felt ridiculous about it. This wasn't a date. Harper had made that clear. He'd made that clear. They were friends meeting for coffee, and then he was taking his daughter to an art workshop where Harper would happen to be volunteering. Completely normal, nothing to be nervous about. So why did he feel like he was 17 again, anxious about seeing someone he liked? Saturday morning arrived gray and drizzly, typical Seattle weather. Noah woke up early, made pancakes for Mia, and tried to act like it was just a regular day. You're wearing your nice shirt, Mia observed over breakfast. The blue one Grandma gave you. I wear this shirt all the time. No, you don't. You only wear it for special things. It's not special. I'm just meeting a friend for coffee. The friend we're seeing later at the art thing? Yeah, Harper. Mia chewed her pancake thoughtfully. Is she pretty? I don't know. I guess? That's not really relevant, Bug. Grandma says that's how you know if someone likes someone, if they think they're pretty. Grandma needs to stop sharing her theories with you. So you do think she's pretty. I think I'm going to have a very long talk with Grandma about boundaries. Mia giggled, pleased with herself. Can I wear my rainbow shirt to the art thing? You can wear whatever you want. Even my tutu? Within reason. After dropping Mia off at his mother's house, she'd agreed to watch her for the morning and would meet them at the community center later. Noah drove to Haven Brew Cafe. He arrived 10 minutes early and found Harper already there, at the same table by the window. She waved when she saw him, and Noah felt that strange flutter in his chest again. She was wearing a deep purple sweater and had her dark hair pulled back in a braid. She looked nervous. Hey, Noah said, signing as he spoke. You're early. So are you, Harper pointed out, her voice that same unusual pitch he'd found himself thinking about all week. Guess we're both anxious. Is it that obvious? You're fidgeting with your keys. Noah looked down and realized he was indeed turning his keys over and over in his hand. He shoved them in his pocket. Okay, yes, I'm nervous. This is weird, right? Being nervous to see a friend? Harper smiled. It's weird. But I'm nervous too, so at least we're weird together. They ordered coffee. Noah got his usual black coffee. Harper ordered something complicated with oat milk and extra foam, and settled in at their table. For a moment, the easy conversation from last week seemed impossibly far away.
They both sipped their drinks in awkward silence. Finally, Harper typed on her phone and showed him. "This is ridiculous. Why is this harder than last week?" Noah laughed, relieved. "Because last week we had the shared trauma of being catfished to bond over? Good point."
We need a new crisis. I could fake a medical emergency. Please don't. I'm terrible in emergencies. Good to know. I'll try not to have any emergencies around you. Harper grinned, and just like that, the tension broke. They fell back into conversation, picking up threads from their last meeting. Harper told him about a difficult client who wanted her to design a logo that was like Apple, but different, but also exactly like Apple. Noah told her about the couple who'd hired him to design their dream home, but couldn't agree on whether they wanted modern or traditional, coastal or mountain, big windows or cozy. So basically they want everything, Harper said. Everything, and also the opposite of everything. Sounds like my client. Why do people hire professionals and then ignore all our advice? Because they think they could do it themselves if they just had time, so clearly we're not actually doing anything valuable. Harper groaned. Yes, I had someone once tell me that their nephew was good with computers and could probably do my job for free. What did you say? I told them that was great, and they should definitely hire their nephew. Then I blocked their number. Harsh. I don't work for free, especially not for people who don't respect what I do. Harper's expression turned more serious. I learned that the hard way after my accident. People treat you differently when you're disabled. They assume you're less capable, less professional. I've had to fight twice as hard to be taken seriously. Noah nodded slowly. I've seen glimpses of that. People talk to me differently now that I'm a widower. They're either overly sympathetic or they treat me like I'm broken, like I've lost the ability to function as an adult just because I lost my wife. Do you ever want to scream at them? Daily. But I usually just smile and nod and then complain to Marcus later. Marcus, the friend who catfished you? He means well. He's just enthusiastic about things. Sometimes too enthusiastic. Harper laughed. Sounds like Jasmine. She's been on a crusade to fix my life ever since the accident. She means well, but God, it's exhausting sometimes. Are you still mad at her for lying about the setup? Harper considered this. I was. But honestly, if she hadn't lied, we wouldn't have met. So I guess I'm more irritated than angry. What about you and Marcus? Same. He's getting a very stern talking to about honesty, but I can't be too mad when it worked out. This worked out? Harper asked, and there was something vulnerable in her expression. Yeah, Noah said softly. I think it did. They talked for another 2 hours, the coffee shop filling up and emptying out around them as Saturday morning shoppers came and went. They talked about everything and nothing, favorite books, weird phobias, embarrassing childhood stories. Harper told him about growing up in Portland with immigrant parents who'd wanted her to be a doctor and were disappointed when she chose art school. Noah told her about his dad leaving when he was 10 and his mother working 2 jobs to keep them afloat. That must have been hard, Harper said. It was, but it also taught me a lot about resilience, about showing up even when things are difficult. Noah smiled sadly. I try to remember that now. When things feel impossible with Mia, when I miss Emma so much I can barely function, I remember my mom getting up every morning and putting on her work uniform and going out to face the day. If she could do that, I can do this. Your mom sounds amazing. She is. She's been incredible with Mia. I honestly don't know what I'd do without her. Is she the one watching Mia now? Yeah, she's going to bring her to the art workshop later. Noah hesitated. Are you sure you're okay with meeting her? Mia can be a lot. I'm sure. I like kids. They're honest in a way adults aren't. They just say what they're thinking. That's what I'm worried about. Harper laughed. What, you think she's going to ask me invasive questions about my disability? Probably, yeah. Good. I'd rather she ask than stare and whisper like most adults do. Noah felt something relax in his chest. Okay, but if she says something wildly inappropriate, I'm apologizing in advance. Deal. And if I say something that upsets her, you have permission to tell me. Deal. They finished their coffee and sat for a while longer, watching the rain streak down the windows. The cafe was playing old jazz, something slow and melancholy that Emma would have loved. Noah felt a pang of guilt.
Was he allowed to be here, enjoying himself, making a new friend? Was it betraying Emma's memory to feel something other than grief? Harper must have seen something in his face because she reached across the table and tapped his hand to get his attention.
When he looked up, she signed, "You okay?" Noah signed back, "Just thinking." "About?" He hesitated, then decided to be honest. About whether it's okay to be happy, to enjoy this. Harper's expression softened with understanding. She pulled out her phone and typed, "Grief doesn't mean you stop living. It means you carry someone with you while you keep going. Emma is still part of your story, but that doesn't mean you can't write new chapters." Noah read her message 3 times, feeling tears prick at his eyes. "How did you get so wise?" Harper typed, 3 years of therapy after my accident. My therapist had a lot of good quotes. I should probably go to therapy? Probably. But for now, coffee with a friend isn't a bad substitute. They left the cafe around noon, both reluctant to end the conversation, but knowing they had a couple hours before the art workshop. Harper mentioned needing to pick up some supplies for the class, and Noah offered to help. "You don't have to," Harper said. "I can manage." "I know you can, but I don't have anything else to do, and honestly, I'm enjoying spending time with you. So unless you're sick of me, I'm not sick of you. Then let's get art supplies." They ended up at a craft store in Capitol Hill, a chaotic wonderland of glitter and paint and every possible art supply imaginable. Harper navigated the aisles with practiced ease, pulling items off shelves and stacking them in her lap. "How long have you been volunteering?" Noah asked as she debated between 2 different brands of tempera paint. "About a year. I needed something to do, something to make me feel useful again. After the accident, I lost so much. My job, my apartment, my independence. I was living with my parents and going to physical therapy and feeling like I'd lost myself completely." She chose the cheaper paint and put 6 bottles in her lap. "Then someone at my support group mentioned this program, and I figured why not? I've always loved art, and working with kids it's joyful. They don't care about my wheelchair or my hearing aids. They just care about whether I can help them make their projects work." "That's beautiful. It's also chaotic. Last week, a kid threw glitter in the air, and we're still finding it everywhere." Noah laughed. "That sounds exactly like something Mia would do." "Then she's going to fit right in." They spent another 30 minutes gathering supplies, and Noah found himself relaxing more and more. There was something comfortable about this. Just 2 people running errands together, nothing complicated or loaded with expectation. Harper was easy to be around. She didn't demand anything from him, didn't expect him to be anything other than himself. At the register, Noah tried to pay for the supplies, but Harper blocked his card with her hand. "The program has a budget," she said firmly. "We're good. At least let me contribute something. You're helping me carry everything. That's contribution enough." They loaded the supplies into Harper's accessible van, a newer model with a lift that she operated with practiced efficiency. Noah tried not to hover or offer unnecessary help, taking his cues from Harper about what she needed and what she could handle herself. "Thank you," Harper said once everything was loaded. "For this morning, for the supplies run, for not being weird about any of this." "Why would I be weird?" "Most people are. They either hover and try to do everything for me, or they ignore me completely and pretend my disability doesn't exist. You just treat me normally." "You are normal. You know what I mean." Noah did know. He thought about all the people who treated him differently after Emma died, who'd either smothered him with sympathy or avoided him entirely, afraid his grief was contagious. "I do know. And for what it's worth, you do the same for me. You don't treat me like a sad widower or a broken single dad. You just treat me like a person. That's because you are a person, who also happens to be a widower and a single dad. But those aren't the only things you are." "Exactly." They smiled at each other, and Noah felt that flutter again. Not attraction exactly, but something just as powerful. Recognition, understanding, the rare gift of being seen clearly. "I'll meet you at the community center," Harper said. "It's the one on 15th, near the library." "I know it. We'll be there at 2. Looking forward to meeting Mia. Fair warning, she's already decided she's going to interview you to determine if you're mean." Harper laughed. "I'll try to pass inspection." Noah picked up Mia from his mother's house at 1:30, enduring his mother's knowing looks and suggestive comments about his nice morning out with his friend.
It was just coffee, Mom.
And shopping, Marcus told me. We were getting art supplies for the workshop. That's not a date activity. Whatever you say, honey. Mia bounced into the car wearing her rainbow shirt and light-up sneakers, clutching her sketchbook. Is it time to meet Harper? In about 20 minutes, Bug. I have questions for her. I'm sure you do. But remember to be polite, okay? And if she doesn't want to answer something, that's okay. I'm always polite. Noah chose not to argue with that obvious falsehood. Instead, he drove to the community center, his stomach doing nervous flips the whole way. Why was he so anxious about his daughter meeting his friend? This was normal. People introduced their kids to their friends all the time. But this felt different. This felt important. The community center was a low brick building with cheerful murals painted on the outside walls. Inside, a large room had been set up with tables covered in plastic, art supplies arranged in colorful chaos. About a dozen kids were already there, along with several adult volunteers. And there was Harper, in the corner, organizing paintbrushes into cups. She looked up when they entered, and her face broke into a smile. You must be Mia, Harper said, her voice clear and carefully pitched as she rolled over to them. Mia's eyes went wide. She looked at the wheelchair, then at Harper's face, then at Noah. It's okay, Bug, Noah said softly. Remember what we talked about? Mia nodded slowly, then turned back to Harper. Hi, I'm Mia. Are you Harper? I am. Your dad told me you like art. I love art. I want to be an artist when I grow up. Or maybe a scientist. I haven't decided yet. Why not both? Mia's face lit up. You can do that? Sure, lots of people do. Science and art aren't that different. They're both about seeing the world in new ways and making discoveries. Really? Really? In fact, some of the best artists use science, and some of the best scientists use art. Noah watched as Mia's initial nervousness melted away under Harper's warm attention. Within minutes, they were deep in conversation about colors and shapes and whether purple or green was the best color. Harper advocated for purple. Mia insisted green was superior. Then Mia asked the question Noah had been dreading. Why do you use a wheelchair? Harper didn't flinch. I was in a car accident a few years ago. It hurt my spine, and now my legs don't work like they used to. Does it hurt? Sometimes, but mostly I just don't feel my legs. Can you feel if I touch them? Nope. Want to try? Mia gently poked Harper's knee, fascinated when Harper didn't react. That's so weird, but also kind of cool. It's definitely different from what you're used to, but it's normal for me now. And the things in your ears, are those hearing aids? They are? I have trouble hearing, so these help make sounds louder. Can you hear me right now? Yep, and I can also read your lips, which helps. That's cool. Can you teach me sign language? Harper's eyes crinkled with delight. Sure. What do you want to learn? For the next 5 minutes, Harper taught Mia basic signs. Hello, thank you, my name is, nice to meet you. Mia practiced with intense concentration, her small hands mimicking Harper's movements. Noah stood back, watching this interaction unfold, and felt something shift in his chest. Harper was patient and kind, never talking down to Mia, answering her questions honestly without making them seem strange or inappropriate. And Mia, his fierce, curious, sometimes too honest daughter, was completely enchanted. Daddy, Mia called. Look, I can say thank you in sign language. She demonstrated, signing thank you with exaggerated movements that made Harper laugh. That's great, Bug, Noah said, signing it back to her. But I think the workshop is starting soon. Should we find you a seat? Mia looked around at the other kids gathering at the tables. Can I sit next to Harper? I'll be walking around helping everyone, Harper explained. But I'll come check on you lots, okay? Okay. But you have to come see my art when I'm done. Deal. Noah helped Mia get settled at a table with 2 other kids around her age, then stepped back as the lead instructor, an energetic woman in her 50s named Carol, began explaining the day's project. They'd be making mixed media collages, using magazines and paint and fabric and whatever else caught their imagination. Harper rolled from table to table, helping kids brainstorm ideas and showing them techniques. Noah watched her work, impressed by how naturally she connected with each child. She knew when to offer guidance and when to step back and let them experiment. She praised their efforts without being patronizing, and when one little boy started crying because his project wasn't working, she sat with him patiently until he calmed down and helped him see that mistakes could become part of the art. "She's good with kids," Carol said, appearing beside Noah. "Been volunteering here for a year and the kids all love her. Are you a friend of hers?" "Yeah, we just met recently." "Well, she seems happy today." "Happier than usual," Carol smiled knowingly. "Must be good to have a friend here." The 2 hours flew by. Mia created an elaborate collage featuring what appeared to be a robot astronaut riding a dinosaur through space. "It's based on science and art," she explained proudly, while the other kids made everything from abstract color explosions to careful portraits of their pets. Harper kept her promise, checking on Mia frequently and offering suggestions that Mia sometimes accepted and sometimes ignored. They seemed to have developed an easy rapport, communicating through a mixture of sign language, speech, and wild hand gestures that both of them seemed to understand perfectly. As the workshop wound down and parents arrived to pick up their children, Mia insisted on showing Harper her finished masterpiece. "This is amazing," Harper said, examining the collage seriously. "Tell me about it." "Well, this is Rita the robot astronaut," Mia explained, pointing to a figure made of magazine cutouts and silver paint. "She's exploring the dinosaur nebula, which is where dinosaurs go when they die. But they're not sad there. They get to be space dinosaurs, which is way better." "That's beautiful. And a little bit sad, but mostly beautiful." "Thanks. My mom would have liked it. She loves space stuff." Harper glanced at Noah, who nodded slightly. "Your mom sounds cool." "She was. She died when I was 4, so I don't remember everything about her. But Daddy tells me stories. That's a good way to remember someone. Through stories. Do you have anyone who died?" "Mia," Noah warned gently. "It's okay," Harper said. "And yes, actually, my grandmother died 2 years ago. I was really close to her." "Do you miss her?" "Every day. But like you said, I remember her through stories and through the things she taught me." Mia considered this solemnly. "I think you're nice. You passed my test." Harper's eyebrows rose. "There was a test?" "Yep, I had to make sure you weren't mean. Daddy needs nice friends." "Well, I'm glad I passed. You're pretty cool yourself." Mia beamed. As other kids finished up and the room began to empty, Mia asked, "Can Harper come have dinner with us?" Noah froze. "Bug, Harper probably has plans." "Actually," Harper said, "I don't, but if it's too much, I totally understand." "Please, Daddy." Mia clasped her hands together. "I want to show Harper my room and my inventions. And, Mia, you barely know Harper. She might not want to—" "I'd love to," Harper interrupted, and she sounded like she meant it. "If you're comfortable with it." Noah looked between his daughter's hopeful face and Harper's gentle smile and realized he was being outvoted. More than that, he realized he wanted Harper to come to dinner. He wanted to show her his home, his life, the world he'd built for Mia. He wanted to extend this day just a little longer. "Okay," he heard himself say, "but I'm warning you, I'm not a great cook and our house is basically an explosion of Mia's projects." "Sounds perfect," Harper said, and somehow, impossibly, it was. Noah's house was exactly as he'd described. A small craftsman bungalow in Wallingford with a front porch that desperately needed repainting and a yard full of Mia's outdoor experiments, which seemed to consist of elaborate structures made from sticks and rocks, and an alarming amount of duct tape. "Sorry about the mess," Noah said, as he unlocked the front door, suddenly acutely aware of the scattered toys in the entryway and the stack of unfolded laundry on the couch. "I wasn't exactly expecting company." "It's perfect," Harper said, and she meant it. There was something warm about the house, lived in and real, in a way that made her feel immediately comfortable. Photos lined the walls. Mia at various ages, a beautiful woman with dark curls who must have been Emma, family gatherings and birthday parties and ordinary moments captured and treasured. Mia had already kicked off her light-up sneakers and was tugging on Harper's hand. "Come see my room. I have so many things to show you." "Mia, let Harper breathe for a second,"
Noah said, and the house isn't exactly wheelchair accessible. There are steps, and I can manage steps if you can give me a hand, Harper said. I've gotten pretty good at adapting. Are you sure? Positive. Besides, Mia promised to show me her inventions, and I take promises very seriously. It took some maneuvering, Noah helping lift the front wheels of the wheelchair up the 2 steps into the house, Harper using her upper body strength to navigate the narrow hallway, but they made it work. Mia chattered the entire time, a running commentary on everything they passed. That's a picture of my mom. Daddy says I look like her, but I think I look like Daddy. That's our bathroom. The toilet makes weird sounds sometimes. That's Daddy's room. It's boring. And this is my room. Mia's room was an explosion of color and creativity.
The walls were covered with her artwork, paintings and drawings and collages that showed genuine talent mixed with childish exuberance. A bookshelf overflowed with books and art supplies and strange objects that Harper couldn't quite identify. The bed was unmade, covered with stuffed animals, and what appeared to be a half-finished cardboard robot. This is amazing, Harper said, taking it all in. You made all of this? Most of it. Daddy helped with some of the building stuff. See that? Mia pointed to an elaborate mobile hanging from the ceiling, made of painted paper and wire. That's the solar system, except I added an extra planet because I think there should be more planets. What's the extra planet called? Miatopia. It's where everyone gets free ice cream and you don't have to do math, Harper laughed. Sounds like the best planet. For the next 20 minutes, Mia gave Harper an exhaustive tour of her creations. The robot made from cardboard boxes and aluminum foil, the science experiment growing mold in a jar on her windowsill, the elaborate fort constructed from blankets and chairs, the sketchbook full of designs for impossible inventions. Noah stood in the doorway, watching this unfold with a mixture of amusement and something deeper. He'd been so careful about who he let into their lives, so protective of this small world he'd built for Mia. But Harper fit somehow, settling into their space like she'd always been there. She listened to Mia's explanations with genuine interest, asked thoughtful questions, and didn't once talk down to her or treat her like a child who needed to be humored. Okay, Bug, Noah finally interrupted. Harper probably wants to sit somewhere more comfortable than your floor, and I should start thinking about dinner. Can I help with dinner? Mia asked Harper. That's up to your dad. Please, Daddy, Harper can help too. Noah looked at Harper, who shrugged. I'm not a great cook, but I can follow instructions. Fair warning, our kitchen is tiny, and the oven is temperamental. I've worked in worse conditions. They made their way back to the main living area, easier this time now that they'd figured out the logistics, and Noah opened the refrigerator to survey their options. It was embarrassingly bare, some chicken breasts that needed to be cooked soon, vegetables that had seen better days, cheese, eggs, and not much else. I usually meal prep on Sundays, but this week got away from me, Noah explained. I can do pasta with chicken and vegetables. It's basic, but edible. Sounds great. Put me to work. What followed was one of the most chaotic and joyful hours Noah had experienced in years. Mia appointed herself head chef and immediately started giving orders that made no culinary sense. Harper somehow ended up in charge of vegetables, despite admitting she barely knew how to boil water, navigating the kitchen in her wheelchair with surprising efficiency. Noah handled the chicken and pasta, trying to keep some semblance of order while his daughter and his new friend conspired to add increasingly bizarre ingredients. Mia, we are not putting gummy bears in the pasta sauce, Noah said firmly. But it would add sweetness. That's what the tomatoes are for. Harper, don't you think gummy bears would be good? Harper held up her hands in surrender. I'm staying out of this one. Your dad is the chef. Traitor, Mia muttered, but she was grinning. The kitchen was too small for 3 people, especially with a wheelchair to navigate around, but they made it work. Noah found himself constantly aware of Harper's presence, the sound of her slightly too loud voice as she talked to Mia, the way she hummed while she chopped vegetables, the careful choreography of moving around each other in the cramped space. At one point, Noah reached past Harper to grab a pan and their hands brushed. It was nothing, barely contact at all, but Noah felt a jolt of awareness that surprised him. Not attraction exactly, or not just attraction, something more complicated. The recognition that this person was becoming important to him in ways he hadn't expected. Harper must have felt something too, because she looked up at him, and their eyes held for a moment longer than necessary. "Sorry," Noah said. "Tight quarters." "It's fine. I'm used to navigating tight spaces." "Still, if I'm in your way—" "Noah." Harper's voice was gentle. "You're fine. We're fine. Stop overthinking." She was right. He was overthinking. This was just dinner with a friend. Normal, everyday, not complicated dinner. Except it didn't feel normal. It felt like something was shifting, some fundamental change in the air between them that Noah couldn't quite name. Mia, oblivious to the adult tension, was singing to herself as she set the table. A made-up song about pasta and dinosaurs that made absolutely no sense, but was oddly catchy. Harper joined in, improvising harmonies that were slightly off-key but enthusiastic. By the time they sat down to eat, the pasta was actually decent, better than Noah's usual attempts, and the vegetables were only slightly burned. Mia had insisted on lighting a candle to make it fancy, and in the flickering light, they looked like a family. The thought hit Noah with unexpected force. They looked like a family. "This is really good," Harper said, signing as she spoke. "I can't remember the last time I had a home-cooked meal." "You don't cook?" Mia asked. "Not really. I mostly live on takeout and cereal." "That's sad. Daddy cooks all the time. He makes the best grilled cheese." "High praise," Harper said with a smile. "It's true. Tell her, Daddy." "My grilled cheese is acceptable," Noah said. "I wouldn't say the best." "False modesty," Mia declared. "Harper, you have to come back sometime and try his grilled cheese. Then you can judge." Noah caught Harper's eye across the table, and she smiled. "I'd like that." They ate and talked, the conversation flowing easily despite Mia's tendency to interrupt with random observations and Harper's occasional need to ask people to repeat themselves. Noah found himself relaxing into the moment, letting go of his self-consciousness about the messy house and his mediocre cooking and the thousand small imperfections of his life. Harper asked Mia about school, and Mia launched into a passionate explanation of why her teacher was wrong about the order of the planets and how she was planning to write a letter to NASA to suggest improvements to the solar system. "That's very ambitious," Harper said seriously, "but maybe start with an email to a local observatory. Work your way up to NASA." "That's actually a good idea. Daddy, can we do that?" "Sure, Bug. We can draft an email this week." "Will you help me, Harper? I want it to sound professional." "I'd be honored." After dinner, Mia insisted they play a board game, something called Cosmic Quest, that had rules so complicated Noah had never fully understood them. Harper gamely tried to follow along as Mia explained the mechanics, occasionally asking clarifying questions that Mia answered with exaggerated patience. "No, Harper, you can't move your spaceship there. That's a black hole zone. You'll lose all your energy crystals." "Right, sorry. What about here?" "That's the Nebula of Doom, also bad. Is anywhere safe?" "Not really. That's what makes it fun." They played for an hour, with Mia winning by such a large margin that Noah suspected she was making up rules as she went. Harper didn't seem to mind losing, laughing at her own terrible strategy and celebrating Mia's victory with genuine enthusiasm. "You're a worthy opponent," Harper said solemnly, shaking Mia's hand. "I'll have to train harder for our rematch." "You're a good loser. Most adults are sore losers." "I've had practice. I lose at everything." "Not art. You're really good at art." "Thank you. So are you." Mia beamed and Noah felt his heart swell. This was what he'd wanted for Mia, people in her life who saw her, who appreciated her wild creativity and endless curiosity, who didn't try to make her fit into some predetermined mold of what a kid should be. By the time 8 o'clock rolled around, Mia was fighting to keep her eyes open despite her protests that she wasn't tired. "Bedtime, Bug," Noah said gently. "But Harper's still here." "Harper will come back another time. Say goodnight." Mia turned to Harper, suddenly shy. "Will you really come back?" "If your dad says it's okay, I'd love to." "Daddy?" Mia looked at Noah with pleading eyes. "Yeah, Harper's welcome anytime." Mia threw her arms around Harper in an impulsive hug that nearly knocked her backward in the wheelchair. "You're the best. Thank you for coming to my art class and playing games and everything." Harper hugged her back, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you for inviting me into your home. I had the best time." After Mia reluctantly headed to her room, Noah and Harper sat in the living room, suddenly awkward again now that it was just the two of them. "She's incredible," Harper said. "You've done an amazing job with her. I've mostly just tried not to screw up too badly." "You're doing more than that. She's smart and kind and creative and confident. That doesn't happen by accident." Noah felt his throat tighten. "Some days I feel like I'm barely keeping it together, like I'm one disaster away from everything falling apart. That's called being a parent. From what I've seen, you're doing great. You only met her today. And in that time, I watched her be curious and respectful and excited about the world. I watched her treat me like a person, not a disability. I watched her love you so openly, it was almost hard to look at. That's not luck, Noah. That's good parenting." Noah had to look away, afraid he might actually cry. "Thank you, I needed to hear that." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, listening to Mia moving around in her room, probably trying to squeeze in a few more minutes of reading before Noah came to turn off her light. "I should probably go," Harper said, but she made no move to leave. "Yeah, it's getting late." Noah didn't want her to go. "Today was really nice, all of it, the workshop, dinner, game night. I haven't felt this normal I can't remember how long." "Normal?" "Like I was just a person spending time with friends. Not a disability or a tragedy or a charity case, just Harper. That's all you've ever been to me." "I know. That's why today was so nice." Harper smiled, but there was something sad in it. "You know what's funny? When Jasmine first told me about this setup, I was so angry. I felt manipulated and lied to and like she was treating me like a project. But now I'm glad she did it. Even though it started with lies, it led to something real, to you and Mia and this." She gestured vaguely at the house, at the dinner remnants and the board games still set up on the coffee table. "To feeling like maybe I could have a life again. A real life, not just existing." Noah understood exactly what she meant. "I felt the same way after Emma died. Like I was just going through the motions, doing what needed to be done, but not actually living. Today was the first time in years I felt like maybe I was starting to come back to myself." "That's good. You deserve that." "So do you." They looked at each other, and something unspoken passed between them. Not romantic exactly, but intimate in a different way. The intimacy of being truly seen, of having someone understand the weight you carried without you having to explain it. "Daddy!" Mia's voice called from her room. "I'm ready for bedtime." Noah stood reluctantly. She won't go to sleep until I read to her." "Go. I can let myself out." "Are you sure? The steps—" "I've got it, Noah. Go be with your daughter." But before Noah could leave the room, Harper called his name. When he turned back, she was signing as she spoke. "Thank you for today, for trusting me with Mia, for making me feel welcome in your home. Thank you for being here, for being exactly who you are." Noah helped Mia with her nighttime routine, brushing teeth, finding the right stuffed animals, reading 2 chapters from their current book. Mia was full of questions about Harper, barely paying attention to the story. "Do you think Harper had fun?" "She seemed to, yeah." "She's really nice, Daddy. I like her." "I like her too, Bug." "Are you going to be friends with her forever?" "I don't know about forever, but hopefully for a while." "Good. I think Mom would have liked her." Noah's breath caught. "What makes you say that?" "Because Mom liked people who were real. That's what Grandma says, that Mom didn't like fake people. She liked people who were themselves. And Harper is really herself, you can tell." Out of the mouths of babes, Noah thought. "You're right, Bug. Mom would have liked her." "Do you think Harper could come to my birthday party? It's not for 2 months, but I want to make sure." "We'll see. Now, go to sleep." "One more question." "Bug, no. Do you think Harper is pretty?" Noah sighed. They were back to this. "I think Harper is a lovely person inside and out. Now sleep." "That's not an answer." "It's the only answer you're getting tonight. Close your eyes." Mia grumbled but complied, and within minutes her breathing had evened out into sleep. Noah sat in the dark for a while, watching his daughter sleep, thinking about Harper's question from earlier. Was he happy? Maybe not completely, not yet. The grief was still there, would probably always be there in some form. But today had felt lighter. Today had felt like possibility. When Noah came back to the living room, he was surprised to find Harper still there, looking at the photos on the wall. "Sorry," she said when she noticed him. "I got distracted. You have a beautiful family." Noah came to stand beside her, looking at a photo from Mia's 5th birthday party. Emma was in the background, laughing at something off camera, and Mia was covered head to toe in chocolate cake. "That was a good day," Noah said softly. "One of the last really good days before Emma got sick. She's beautiful, and she looks happy." She was. She loved life so fully, embraced everything with such enthusiasm. I think that's what I miss most. Not just her, but the way she saw the world. Like everything was an adventure. Mia inherited that. Yeah, she did. Noah smiled. Sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's exhausting. Harper laughed quietly. I can imagine. They stood there for a moment, looking at the photos, at the evidence of a life before and after loss. "Can I ask you something?" Harper said finally. "And you can tell me if it's too personal." "Go ahead. Do you ever feel guilty? For moving forward, for having moments of happiness? Like you're betraying her memory?" Noah turned to look at Harper, surprised by the question. "Every day. Every single day. When I laugh at something Mia says, when I enjoy a meal, when I have a good conversation, there's always this voice in my head asking if I deserve to be happy when Emma can't be." "What do you do with that voice?" "I try to remember something she told me before she died. She made me promise that I wouldn't stop living just because she had to. She said she wanted me to be happy, to fall in love again someday, to give Mia a full life." Noah's voice cracked. "But knowing what she wanted and actually doing it are two different things." Harper reached out and took his hand, squeezing gently. "For what it's worth, I think you're doing it. Living, I mean. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not all the time, but you're trying. That's what matters." "Are you? Trying to live again?" Harper was quiet for a long moment. "I'm starting to. Today helped. Being here with you and Mia, feeling like a regular person doing regular things, it reminded me that life didn't end with my accident. It changed, but it didn't end." "Your ex-fiancé was an idiot." The words came out more forcefully than Noah intended, but he meant them. Harper looked up at him, startled. "He had someone incredible," Noah continued. "Someone strong and talented and kind, and he walked away because things got hard. That's not love. That's cowardice. You barely know me. I know enough. I know you show up even when you're scared. I know you're patient with curious 7-year-olds who ask invasive questions. I know you make terrible jokes and you're competitive about board games and you hum when you cook. I know that in the past week, you've made me feel more like myself than I have in 3 years. Noah paused, realizing he'd said more than he intended. "So yeah, I know enough to know he was an idiot." Harper's eyes were bright with unshed tears. "Noah, sorry, that was intense. I didn't mean to, Don't apologize." Harper's voice was fierce. "Don't you dare apologize for seeing me, for saying things like that. Do you know how long it's been since someone looked at me and saw anything other than what I lost? You haven't lost anything that matters. You're still you. Am I? Some days I don't even know who that is anymore. You're Harper. You're an artist and a volunteer and someone who gives perfect pep talks to sad architects. You're someone who my daughter decided she liked in approximately 30 seconds, which is basically her superpower. She can spot fake people a mile away. You're someone who showed up to a blind date from hell and decided to stay anyway." Noah smiled. "That's who you are." Harper wiped at her eyes, smearing the tears across her cheeks. "How are you real? How is any of this real?" I ask myself the same thing. They stood there in Noah's living room, holding hands, two broken people who'd somehow found each other in the wreckage of their separate tragedies. The house was quiet, except for the sound of Mia's white noise machine humming from her bedroom and the distant rumble of traffic outside. "I should really go this time," Harper said, but she didn't let go of Noah's hand. "Yeah, it's late." Neither of them moved. Finally, Harper laughed, that too loud, abrupt laugh that Noah was starting to love. "This is ridiculous. We're standing here like awkward teenagers." "We are, aren't we?"
What are we doing, Noah? I don't know. Being friends? Friends hold hands in living rooms at 9 o'clock at night? These friends do. Harper smiled, squeezing his hand once more before letting go. Okay. Friends. I can do friends. Me too. Even though this feels like more than friends? Noah's heart stuttered. Does it? You know it does. But I'm not ready for more. And I don't think you are either. I'm not, Noah admitted. But someday, Harper agreed, but not today. Not today. This time when Harper moved toward the door, Noah didn't try to stop her. He helped her navigate the steps, handed her the jacket she'd left on the couch, walked her to her van in the driveway. Text me when you get home? Noah asked. You asked me that last time too. It's a habit. Sue me for worrying about my friends. I'll text you. Harper opened her van door, then paused. Noah? Yeah? I meant what I said earlier. Today was one of the best days I've had in years. Thank you for that. Same. All of it. Same. Next Saturday? Same coffee shop? I'll be there. Bring Mia. I want to hear more about her letter to NASA. Noah laughed. You're setting yourself up for at least an hour of space facts. I can handle it. Harper pulled out of the driveway with a wave, and Noah stood watching until her taillights disappeared around the corner. Then he went back inside to his quiet house, his sleeping daughter, his life that suddenly felt full of possibility again. His phone buzzed with a text from Harper 20 minutes later. Home safe. Thanks again for everything. Sweet dreams. Noah typed back. Sweet dreams to you too. See you Saturday. He plugged in his phone and lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, his mind replaying the day. Harper's laugh, Mia's excitement, the feeling of Harper's hand in his, the way his house had felt less empty with her in it. He thought about Emma, about the promise he'd made to her, to live fully, to be happy, to not become a ghost. I'm trying, he whispered to the darkness. I'm really trying. And for the first time in 3 years, he believed he might actually succeed. That night, Noah dreamed of stars and art classes, and a woman with dark hair who laughed too loud and made his daughter smile. He dreamed of possibility, of futures he'd thought were closed to him, of hearts that could break and still find ways to open again. When he woke the next morning to Mia jumping on his bed demanding pancakes, Noah felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. He felt ready. Not for everything, not all at once, but for the next step, for whatever came next. And that was enough. The weeks that followed felt like watching a photograph develop slowly in a dark room, details emerging gradually from what had seemed like blank space. Noah and Harper fell into a rhythm, coffee every Saturday morning, sometimes with Mia and sometimes without, text messages throughout the week about everything and nothing, occasional dinners at Noah's house where Mia would present increasingly elaborate art projects for Harper's approval. What surprised Noah most wasn't how easily Harper fit into their lives, but how natural it felt. There was no forcing, no awkward adjustment period. She simply became part of the fabric of their days, woven in so seamlessly that Noah sometimes forgot she hadn't always been there. Marcus, of course, was insufferable about the whole thing. So you're telling me you see her every week, you text her daily, she's met your kid, and you're still claiming this isn't dating, Marcus said over their weekly lunch, 3 weeks after that first coffee date. It's not dating because neither of us wants it to be dating, Noah said patiently. We're friends. Friends who stare at each other like lovesick puppies. I don't stare. You absolutely stare. I saw you two at the coffee shop last weekend. You looked at her like she hung the moon. I was listening. She's hard of hearing. I have to face her when we talk. Keep telling yourself that, buddy. But Marcus's teasing aside, there was truth in what he said that Noah was trying very hard not to acknowledge. Because the more time he spent with Harper, the harder it became to maintain the fiction that this was just friendship. It was the little things that got to him. The way Harper always remembered to bring an extra coffee for him when they met, exactly how he liked it. The way she'd started learning more sign language so she could communicate with Mia better. The way she laughed at his terrible jokes, the sound too loud and uninhibited, not caring who looked. The way she'd text him pictures of things she found beautiful. A flower growing through a crack in the sidewalk, an interesting cloud formation, graffiti that said something profound.
And it was the big things, too. The way she talked about her dreams with such fierce determination, refusing to let her disability define her limitations. The way she was patient with Mia's endless questions about wheelchairs and hearing aids, turning each one into a teaching moment. The way she understood grief in a way most people couldn't, having carried her own losses close to her heart. Noah found himself thinking about her at odd moments, while designing a building, while making dinner, while lying in bed at night. He'd catch himself smiling at a memory of something she'd said, or drafting texts he was too nervous to send, or wondering what she was doing right at that moment. This was dangerous territory, and Noah knew it. He'd promised himself he wasn't ready for this. He'd promised Harper the same thing, but his heart apparently hadn't gotten the memo. Harper, for her part, was fighting the same battle. She found herself looking forward to Saturdays with an intensity that scared her. Found herself checking her phone constantly, hoping for a message from Noah. Found herself lying awake thinking about the way he looked at her, really looked at her, seeing past the wheelchair and the hearing aids to the person underneath. "You're in trouble," Jasmine said one evening when Harper admitted reluctantly how often she was seeing Noah. "I'm not in trouble. We're just friends." "Harper, honey, I've known you for 5 years. You're many things, but a good liar isn't one of them." We established boundaries. We both agreed we weren't ready for anything romantic. "And how's that working out for you?" Harper didn't answer, which was answer enough. The truth was, she was terrified. Terrified of letting someone in again, of being vulnerable, of giving someone the power to hurt her. Her ex-fiancé had destroyed her sense of worth, had made her believe that no one could love her as she was now. The idea of opening herself up to that kind of rejection again made her want to retreat into her carefully constructed walls. But Noah made it hard to stay behind those walls. He had a way of seeing through her defenses, of calling her out when she was being self-deprecating or hiding behind humor. He treated her disability as a simple fact of her existence, not a tragedy or an inspiration or anything other than a part of who she was. He asked for her opinion on his architectural designs, valued her artistic perspective, made her feel like her thoughts mattered. And Mia, God, Mia had completely stolen her heart. The little girl had started calling Harper every few days, FaceTime sessions where she'd show off her latest creations or quiz Harper about colors and techniques. Harper found herself looking forward to those calls almost as much as seeing Noah, touched by Mia's easy acceptance and genuine affection. "Harper, are you coming to my school art show?" Mia asked during one such call, about a month after they'd first met. "It's next Friday, and I have 3 pieces in it, and Daddy says I can invite whoever I want." Harper felt her heart squeeze. "You want me there?" "Duh! You're my art friend. You have to come." "Then I'll be there. Text me the details." "Daddy will text you." "I'm not allowed to text yet. He says I'm too young, but that's not fair because all my friends have phones." "You're 7. Exactly. I'm very mature for my age." Harper laughed. "I'll take your word for it." After Mia hung up, Noah texted almost immediately. "Sorry about that. She's been planning this invitation for days. Don't apologize. I'm honored." "When is it?" "Friday at 6. No pressure if you can't make it. I'll be there. Wouldn't miss it. Fair warning, my mother will be there. She's been dying to meet you. Should I be nervous?" "Probably. She's already decided she likes you based on the fact that Mia talks about you constantly. No pressure then." "None at all." Harper found herself ridiculously nervous about the school art show. She changed outfits 3 times, trying to find something that looked nice but not like she was trying too hard. She practiced what she'd say to Noah's mother, then felt stupid for rehearsing a conversation that hadn't happened yet. "You've got it bad," she told her reflection. "You are in so much trouble." The art show was held in the school gymnasium, which had been transformed with student artwork covering every available wall space. Harper arrived early, nerves making her hands shake slightly as she navigated through the crowd of parents and students. She spotted Noah immediately. He was standing near the back, talking to an older woman who could only be his mother. He saw Harper at the same moment, and his whole face lit up in a way that made her stomach flip. "Harper!" Mia's voice cut through the crowd, and suddenly the little girl was racing toward her, ponytail flying. "You came! Come see my stuff! It's in the back corner with all the other second-grade art." "Mia, let Harper breathe," Noah said, appearing beside his daughter with his mother in tow. "Harper, this is my mom, Anne. Mom, this is Harper." Ann Jensen was a petite woman with silver hair and Noah's same warm eyes. She looked at Harper with open curiosity and something that looked like approval. "It's so lovely to meet you," Ann said clearly, making sure Harper could read her lips. "Mia talks about you constantly. According to her, you're the greatest artist in the world." "Mia might be slightly biased," Harper said, her voice coming out more nervous than she intended. "But it's wonderful to meet you too." Come on, come on," Mia tugged on Harper's hand. "My art is this way." Mia's section featured 3 pieces: a watercolor of what appeared to be a sunset over an alien planet, a collage made from magazine cutouts and glitter, and a self-portrait done in colored pencil that showed surprising skill for a 7-year-old. "These are incredible," Harper said, studying each piece carefully. "The composition on this watercolor is really sophisticated, and your self-portrait. Mia, you've captured something special here. See how you've made your eyes the focal point? That takes real skill." Mia beamed. "Ms. Rodriguez helped with the shading, but I did the rest myself. You should be very proud." "I am. Daddy says I get my art talent from Mom. She used to paint." Harper glanced at Noah, who was watching them with an expression she couldn't quite read. Sadness, maybe, but also something softer. Pride. Contentment. "Your mom had good taste," Harper said, "because you're going to be an amazing artist someday." They spent the next hour walking through the exhibition, Mia providing running commentary on every piece. Noah's mother stayed close, asking Harper questions about her own art and her volunteer work, seeming genuinely interested in the answers. "Noah tells me you're a graphic designer," Ann said at one point when Mia had run off to find her teacher. "I am. I work from home now, mostly doing freelance projects." "That must be challenging, working alone." Harper appreciated that Ann didn't mention her disability, didn't ask the invasive questions most people asked. "It has its ups and downs. I miss the collaborative aspect of working in an office sometimes, but the flexibility is nice." "Well, I think it's wonderful that you've built a career doing what you love and that you volunteer with children. Mia absolutely adores you." "The feeling is mutual. She's an incredible kid." Ann's expression softened. "She is, and she's happier than I've seen her in a long time. You're good for her." A pause, then, "You're good for Noah, too." Harper felt her cheeks heat. "We're just friends." "Of course you are," Ann said, but her tone suggested she didn't believe that for a second. "Just friends who make my son smile again, who make him laugh, who've reminded him that life can be full of joy even after tragedy." "Mrs. Jensen." "Ann, please. And I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable, dear. I just want you to know that whatever this is between you and Noah, I'm grateful for it. He's been lost for so long. But since meeting you, he's finding his way back." Harper didn't know what to say to that. She was saved from responding by Mia's return, dragging her teacher over to introduce her to the best artist in Seattle. After the art show, Noah suggested they all go for ice cream, a tradition he and Mia had after every school event. Harper expected Ann to decline, giving them space, but the older woman accepted enthusiastically. "I want to hear more about your graphic design work," Ann said as they walked to the ice cream shop 2 blocks from the school. "I'm thinking of redesigning the logo for my book club, and I'd love to pick your brain." They crowded into a small booth at the ice cream parlor, Mia squeezed between Noah and Harper, talking nonstop about her art show and who liked which pieces and how many compliments she got. "And Ms. Rodriguez said my watercolor showed real promise, and she asked if I take private lessons. And I said no, but maybe I should, Daddy. What do you think? Can I take art lessons?" "We'll look into it, Bug." "Harper, do you teach art lessons?" "Not formally, but I could show you some techniques if you want." "Really? That would be so cool. Can we start this weekend?" "Mia," Noah warned, "Harper might have other plans." "Actually, I'm free Saturday afternoon if that works for you guys." Mia's squeal of delight made several other customers turn to look. Harper just laughed, signing, "You're welcome," when Mia thanked her enthusiastically. Ann watched this exchange with obvious pleasure. When Mia excused herself to go to the bathroom, dragging Noah with her because, "Daddy, I need someone to watch my ice cream," Ann leaned closer to Harper. "Can I tell you something?" Ann asked. "Of course." "When Emma died, I was so worried about Noah.
Not just the grief, which was terrible enough, but I worried he'd shut down completely, that he'd go through the motions of living without actually being alive. And for a long time, that's exactly what happened. Anne's eyes were bright with emotion. But these past few weeks, he's been different, present, engaged. He laughs at Mia's jokes instead of just smiling politely. He talks about his work with actual enthusiasm. He's coming back to us. I think that's just time, Harper said softly. Grief takes as long as it takes. Time helps, yes, but so do people. So does connection.
So does having someone who reminds you that life can be beautiful again. Anne reached across the table and squeezed Harper's hand. Thank you for being that person for him. Harper felt tears prick her eyes. He's been that person for me too. After my accident, I thought my life was over, but Noah and Mia, they've reminded me that it's not, that there's still so much worth living for. Then you're good for each other. That's all that matters. When Noah and Mia returned, Mia complaining that the bathroom was gross and smelled weird, they finished their ice cream and said their goodbyes. Anne hugged Harper with surprising strength, whispering, "Come to Sunday dinner sometime," before letting go. Noah walked Harper to her van, Mia holding her hand and chattering about art lessons and all the things she wanted to learn. "Your mom is wonderful," Harper said when Mia finally ran ahead to climb in Noah's truck. "She likes you, a lot. The feeling is mutual." "She also thinks we're dating." Harper felt her stomach flip. "What did you tell her?" "The truth, that we're friends." "And she believed you?" "Not even a little bit." Noah ran a hand through his hair. "Harper, I need to tell you something." Harper's heart started racing. "Okay." "This thing we're doing, the coffee dates, the dinners, spending time together, it's getting harder to call it just friendship." "I know." "You know?" "Of course I know. I'm not blind, Noah. I see the way you look at me. I feel it too." Noah stepped closer, and Harper could see the conflict in his eyes. "I don't want to rush this. I don't want to mess it up by moving too fast." "Then we won't rush. We'll keep doing exactly what we're doing. Even though it feels like more?" "Especially because it feels like more. Because that means it matters, and things that matter are worth taking slowly." Noah smiled, and Harper saw relief flood his features. "How did you get so wise?" "Therapy. Lots and lots of therapy." They stood there in the parking lot, neither quite ready to leave. In Noah's truck, Mia was drawing patterns on the foggy window, giving them privacy. "I'm scared," Noah admitted, "of letting someone in again, of caring about someone and losing them. I'm scared too, of being abandoned again, of someone getting close and then deciding I'm too much work. You're not too much work. You don't know that. You haven't seen me on my bad days when the pain is unbearable and I'm depressed and angry at the world. You haven't had to help me with things I can't do myself. You haven't—" "Harper." Noah's voice was gentle but firm. "Everyone has bad days. Everyone needs help sometimes. That doesn't make you too much. It makes you human. Easy to say now. Then let me prove it. Let me be there for the bad days as well as the good ones. Let me show you that I'm not going anywhere." Harper wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him so badly. But fear is a powerful thing, and hers had been well earned. "What if we mess this up?" she asked. "What if we try for something more and it ruins everything? I can't lose you and Mia. I can't." "We're not going anywhere either. Even if, and I'm not saying this will happen, but even if we tried dating and it didn't work out, you're still Mia's art friend. You're still part of our lives. That doesn't change." "You can't promise that." "I can promise I'll try. That's all anyone can do." Harper closed her eyes, fighting the urge to either run away or pull Noah closer. "I need time to think about this, to figure out if I'm ready. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere." "What if I'm never ready?" "Then we stay friends, and I'll be grateful for that." Harper opened her eyes and found Noah watching her with such patience and understanding that it made her chest ache. "You're too good to be true, you know that?" "I'm really not. Ask Marcus. He'll give you a comprehensive list of my flaws." "I might take you up on that." "Daddy!" Mia called from the truck. "Can Harper come to Sunday dinner at Grandma's this week?" Noah looked at Harper, questioning. "No pressure. My mom invited you, but you absolutely don't have to. I'd love to, Harper heard herself say. If you're sure. I'm sure. We have family dinner every Sunday. It's usually chaos, but the food is good. Then count me in. As Harper drove home that night, she replayed the conversation in her head. Noah had essentially told her he wanted more than friendship. She'd admitted she felt the same. They decided to take things slowly, which was smart and mature and exactly the right choice. So why did it feel like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, trying to decide whether to jump? Her phone buzzed with a text from Noah. Thank you for coming tonight. Mia hasn't stopped talking about you since you left. It was my pleasure. She's amazing. So are you. Harper stared at those 3 words for a long time. 3 simple words that made her feel seen and valued and terrified all at once. Good night, Noah. Good night, Harper. Sweet dreams. That Sunday, Harper found herself even more nervous than she'd been at the art show. Meeting Noah's mother at a public event was one thing. Going to family dinner at her house was something else entirely. It felt significant, like a step towards something Harper wasn't sure she was ready for. She brought flowers, lilies and roses arranged in a simple bouquet, and immediately worried they were too much or not enough or the wrong kind entirely. Stop overthinking, she told herself as she parked outside the address Noah had given her. It's just dinner with friends. Friends whose son you're falling for, a voice in her head added helpfully. Friends who are probably going to ask about your intentions. Noah must have been watching for her because he appeared on the porch before she even made it halfway up the accessible ramp that had been built alongside the steps. You didn't have to bring anything, he said, but he was smiling. My mother raised me better than to show up empty-handed. Fair enough. Come on. I'll warn you that it's loud and chaotic in there. I grew up in a Korean household with 5 aunts. I can handle loud and chaotic. Noah laughed and opened the door, and immediately Harper was engulfed in warmth and noise and cooking smells. Anne's house was cozy and lived in, with photos covering every surface and comfortable furniture that showed signs of use. Mia came running, signing hello, enthusiastically before launching into an explanation of the picture she'd drawn for Harper. That's beautiful, Harper said, studying the crayon drawing of what appeared to be her and Mia at an art class. Can I keep it? That's why I made it, silly. Anne appeared from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a floral apron. Harper, I'm so glad you could make it. Those flowers are gorgeous. You shouldn't have. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Of course. Any friend of Noah's is family. Come, let me show you where everything is. We're very casual here. Make yourself at home. The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. Anne had made enough food to feed an army, roast chicken, mashed potatoes, 3 different vegetables, homemade rolls, and a pie that smelled like heaven. Harper offered to help but was shooed away, told to relax and enjoy herself. She ended up in the living room with Noah and Mia, looking through old photo albums that Anne had pulled out specifically to show her. There were pictures of Noah as a child, gap-toothed and grinning, always building something. Photos of him in college with Marcus, both of them looking young and carefree. Wedding photos with Emma, both of them radiant with joy. Harper found herself drawn to those wedding photos, studying Emma's face. She was beautiful, yes, but more than that. She looked alive in a way that came through even in still images, full of energy and joy and love. She was something special, Anne said softly, appearing beside Harper. Loud and impulsive and absolutely perfect for my son. She looks happy. She was. They both were. Anne turned to look at Noah, who was helping Mia with a puzzle across the room. And he can be happy again. Different, but still happy. He's allowed that. Harper heard the message beneath the words. You're allowed to make him happy. You're allowed to be happy with him. Dinner was exactly as chaotic as promised. Mia talked nonstop. Anne told embarrassing stories about Noah's childhood. Noah groaned and tried unsuccessfully to steer the conversation elsewhere. Harper laughed until her sides hurt, until her voice was hoarse, until she forgot to be nervous or self-conscious. This was what family felt like, she realized. Not perfect or formal, but warm and messy and real. After dinner, while Anne and Noah did the dishes and Mia was distracted by a cartoon, Harper found herself alone in the living room, looking at more photos. There was one of Noah holding newborn Mia, his face full of wonder and terror. One of Emma and Mia covered in paint, both laughing. One of the three of them at Christmas, a perfect family. She'd want this for him, you know. Harper turned to find Anne standing in the doorway, dish towel in hand. I'm sorry? Emma. She'd want Noah to find love again, to be happy. She made him promise, actually. On her deathbed, she made him swear he wouldn't shut himself off from the world. Mrs. Jensen, Anne, and I'm not trying to pressure you, dear. I just want you to know that whatever guilt you might be feeling about Noah, about taking Emma's place, you're not. No one could replace her. But that doesn't mean there isn't room in Noah's heart for someone new. Harper felt tears sting her eyes. I don't know if I'm ready. If either of us is ready. Love doesn't wait until you're ready. It shows up when it shows up, messy and inconvenient and terrifying. The question isn't whether you're ready, it's whether you're brave enough to try anyway. What if I hurt him? What if I'm not enough? Anne stepped closer, her expression fierce. Harper Lynn, from what I've seen, you are more than enough. You're kind and talented and strong. You make my son smile. You make my granddaughter laugh. You're exactly what this family needs. I'm broken. So is he. So are we all in our own ways. But broken things can still be beautiful. Still be whole in the ways that matter. Harper couldn't speak past the lump in her throat. Anne pulled her into a hug, and Harper let herself be held, let herself accept the comfort being offered. Take your time, Anne whispered. But don't let fear make you miss out on something wonderful. Life is too short for that. When Noah drove Harper home that night, Mia had fallen asleep at Anne's house and would stay the night there. The car was quiet. Comfortable silence stretched between them, full of things unsaid. My mom cornered you, Noah said finally. How did you know? Because she cornered me too. Gave me a whole speech about being brave and taking chances and not letting the past control my future. What did you say? That I was trying, that I wanted to be brave, that I was terrified of messing this up. Noah glanced at her. What did you say? That I was broken, that I might not be enough. And what did she say? That broken things can still be beautiful. Noah pulled up outside Harper's apartment building and put the car in park. They sat there in the darkness, the engine ticking as it cooled. Harper, I need you to hear something. Okay. You are not broken. You're not too much or not enough. You're exactly who you're supposed to be, and I don't know what this is between us or where it's going, but I know I want to find out. At whatever pace feels right, with no pressure and no expectations, just honestly trying to figure it out together. Harper turned to look at him, this kind man who'd stumbled into her life by accident and somehow become essential. I want that too. But Noah, I'm so scared. Me too, so let's be scared together. Is that allowed? I think so. I think being scared together is better than being scared alone. Harper reached across the console and took his hand. He squeezed back and they sat there, connected. Two people standing on the edge of something new and terrifying and possibly wonderful. One step at a time, Harper asked. One step at a time, Noah agreed. Starting with art lessons on Saturday and coffee next week. And Sunday dinners when you can make it. Sounds perfect. Neither of them moved to leave. The moment felt too fragile, too precious to break. Finally, Harper squeezed his hand once more and let go. I should go in. It's late. Text me when you're inside? Always. Harper made her way into her building, turning at the door to wave at Noah. He waved back, waiting until she was safely inside before driving away. Upstairs in her apartment, Harper leaned against the door and let out a shaky breath. She was doing this. They were doing this. Whatever this was, they were figuring it out together. Her phone buzzed with a text from Noah. Thank you for coming tonight. My mom loves you, Mia loves you, and I'm really glad you're in our lives. Harper typed and deleted 3 different responses before settling on, I'm glad I'm in your lives too. Good night, Noah. Good night, Harper. Harper got ready for bed, her mind replaying the evening, the warmth of Anne's home, the laughter over dinner, the weight of Noah's hand in hers. She thought about Anne's words, about broken things still being beautiful, about love showing up when it was ready and not before. Maybe she was ready. Or maybe she wasn't. But maybe, just maybe, she was willing to try anyway. And for now, that was enough. The art lessons became a weekly tradition. Every Saturday afternoon, Harper would come to Noah's house with supplies and patience, teaching Mia techniques that the little girl absorbed like a sponge. But more than that, those afternoons became something none of them had expected. They became a space where all three of them could simply exist together, no pressure or pretense, just the easy comfort of people who belonged in each other's lives. 2 months passed this way, a gentle progression of coffee dates and family dinners and text messages that grew increasingly personal. Noah found himself telling Harper things he'd never told anyone: his fears about failing Mia, his guilt about moving forward, his dreams for projects he wanted to design someday. Harper shared her own vulnerabilities, the nightmares about the accident that still woke her up sometimes, the frustration of dealing with a world not built for her, the loneliness that had defined her life before Noah and Mia. They were falling in love, though neither of them had said the words. It was there in every glance, every touch, every moment they chose to spend together. But fear kept those words locked away, unspoken but deeply felt. Then came the day that changed everything. It started as an ordinary Saturday. Harper arrived at Noah's house with her usual bag of art supplies ready for Mia's lesson. But when Noah opened the door, his expression was strained, worried. "What's wrong?" Harper asked immediately. "Mia's not feeling well. She woke up with a fever and she's been asking for Emma." Noah's voice cracked. "She does this sometimes when she's sick, regresses a little, asks for her mom. I thought maybe we should cancel today." "Do you want me to go?" Noah hesitated, and Harper could see the internal struggle playing out on his face. This was intimate, vulnerable, the kind of moment you shared with family, not with someone you were just friends with. "No," he said finally. "Actually, I think she'd like to see you. She was upset when I told her you might not come." Harper followed Noah inside to find Mia curled up on the couch, wrapped in a blanket covered with stars. Her face was flushed with fever, her eyes glassy. "Harper!" Mia's voice was hoarse. "You came." "Of course I came, sweetheart. Your dad said you're not feeling well. My throat hurts and my head hurts and everything is bad." Tears spilled down Mia's cheeks. "I want my mommy." Harper's heart broke. She looked at Noah, who stood frozen, clearly struggling with his own emotions. Without overthinking it, Harper moved closer to the couch. "I know, honey. I know you want your mom. And it's okay to miss her, especially when you feel bad." "But she's not here." Mia's voice was small and lost. "She's never here when I need her." "No, she's not here, and that's really, really unfair. You should have your mom here to make you soup and stroke your hair and tell you everything will be okay." "Then why isn't she here?" It was a child's question, simple and devastating. Harper felt tears sting her own eyes. Because sometimes terrible things happen to wonderful people, and it's not fair and it's not right, and it hurts so much. But Mia, your mom loved you so much. And even though she can't be here, that love doesn't go away. How do you know? Because love doesn't end when someone dies. It changes, but it doesn't end. Your mom is still loving you, even from far away, and your dad is here, loving you enough for 2 parents. And you have your grandma and your friends, and Harper's voice wavered, and people like me who think you're pretty amazing and want to help however we can. Mia looked at Harper with those fever-bright eyes. "Will you stay? Even though I'm sick and sad?" "I'll stay as long as you want me here." "Forever?" The question hung in the air, weighted with meaning beyond what a 6-7-year-old intended. Harper glanced at Noah, who was watching them with an expression of such raw emotion it took her breath away. "Let's start with today," Harper said gently, "and we'll figure out the rest as we go." Mia seemed satisfied with that answer. She patted the couch beside her. "Will you sit with me? We can't do art lessons, but maybe you could just be here?" "I can definitely do that." Harper spent the afternoon on that couch with Mia curled against her side, the little girl drifting in and out of fevered sleep. Noah brought them soup and tea and medicine, checking Mia's temperature every hour, his worry evident in every movement. At one point, while Mia was sleeping, Noah sat down on Mia's other side, and they formed a protective circle around her. "Thank you," Noah whispered,
for knowing what to say, for staying. Where else would I be? I don't know. But most people would have run when faced with a sick kid crying for her dead mother. I'm not most people. No, you're really not. They sat in silence for a while, listening to Mia's breathing, the rain starting outside the window. It felt domestic and intimate in a way that should have scared Harper, but instead felt right. Can I tell you something? Noah said quietly. Always. When Emma was dying, she made me promise something. She said, "Don't let grief make you forget how to love. Don't let my death be the reason you stop living." And I tried, Harper. I really tried. But for 3 years, I just went through the motions. I took care of Mia and went to work and pretended I was okay. But I wasn't living. I was just existing. Harper took his hand, threading their fingers together. Then I met you, Noah continued, and suddenly I remembered what it felt like to want to wake up in the morning, to look forward to something, to feel like maybe there was still joy left in the world. He turned to look at her, his eyes bright with unshed tears. You brought me back to life, Harper. You and your terrible jokes and your too loud laugh, and your way of seeing beauty in everything. You reminded me what it felt like to be human again. Harper couldn't speak past the lump in her throat. She wanted to tell him that he'd done the same for her, that he'd shown her that her life wasn't over, that she was still capable of connection and joy and maybe even love. But the words wouldn't come. So instead she squeezed his hand and leaned her head against his shoulder, and they sat like that, two broken people holding each other together while a little girl slept between them, dreaming of mothers and stars and love that never dies. Mia's fever broke that evening, and she woke up more like herself, asking for crackers and juice and declaring that she felt much better actually, maybe even well enough for ice cream. Nice try, Bug, Noah said, but it's crackers and rest for you. Harper, can you tell Daddy that ice cream is medicinal? I'm not getting in the middle of this. You're supposed to be on my side. I'm on the side of whatever your dad thinks is best. Mia groaned dramatically, but accepted her crackers with grace. Harper stayed for dinner, more soup, simple and warm, and helped Noah coax Mia into eating even though she claimed she wasn't hungry. As the evening wore on and Mia's energy flagged, Noah carried her to bed. Harper started gathering her things, assuming she should leave and give them space for their bedtime routine. Don't go yet, Noah said when he returned. Please, I want to talk to you about something. Harper's heart started racing. Okay. They sat on the couch, the space where Mia had been now empty between them. Noah looked nervous, his hands fidgeting with a throw pillow. Today was hard, he started. Seeing Mia like that, missing Emma. It brought up a lot of stuff I thought I'd worked through. That's understandable. But it also made me realize something. Harper, I've been telling myself that I'm not ready for a relationship, that it's too soon, that I need more time, that I owe it to Emma's memory to stay alone, but that's bullshit. Harper's eyes widened at the vehemence in his voice. Emma didn't want me to be alone. She wanted me to be happy. And I've been using my grief as an excuse to keep you at arm's length, because I'm scared. Noah took a shaky breath. But watching you today with Mia, seeing how naturally you fit into our lives, how much you care about both of us, I realized I'm more scared of losing you than I am of trying. Noah? Wait, let me finish. I know we said we'd take this slow, and we can still do that, but I need you to know where I stand. I'm not looking for just a friend anymore. I haven't been for weeks, if I'm honest. I'm falling in love with you, Harper. Maybe I've already fallen. And I don't want to waste any more time pretending otherwise. Harper felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room. You're falling in love with me? Is that really so surprising? Yes, Noah, Harper gestured at herself, at the wheelchair, the hearing aids. I'm not exactly the easy choice. Love isn't about easy. It's about right. And you feel right, Harper. You feel like someone I could build a life with. You feel like home. Harper felt tears streaming down her face. I'm terrified. Me too. What if I can't be what you need? What if I can't be a good partner or a good mother figure to Mia? What if... Harper. Noah moved closer, taking both her hands. You already are those things. You already show up for us, care for us, make our lives better just by being in them.
I'm not asking you to be anyone other than who you are right now. But my disability is part of you. It's not all of you, but it's part of you, and I accept that.
Hell, I more than accept it. I admire it. I admire how you've rebuilt your life after your accident, how you refuse to let limitations define you, how you face every day with such courage even when it's hard. I'm not brave. You're the bravest person I know. You showed up to that coffee date even though you were terrified. You let Mia into your heart even though kids can be unpredictable and hurtful. You're here, right now, letting yourself be vulnerable with me, even though your ex taught you that vulnerability leads to abandonment. If that's not brave, I don't know what is. Harper was crying in earnest now, years of fear and pain and loneliness pouring out. I'm so scared of losing you. I'm not going anywhere. You don't know that. What if something happens to me? What if my condition gets worse? What if... Then we deal with it together. Harper, life is uncertain. I learned that the hard way when Emma got sick. We can't control what happens. All we can control is how we choose to face it. And I choose to face it with you. If you'll have me. Harper looked at this man who'd somehow become her whole world in just a few short months. This kind, patient, beautiful man who saw past her wheelchair to the person underneath, who made her laugh and feel valued and believe that maybe, just maybe, she was worthy of love. I'm falling in love with you too, she whispered. I have been for weeks. I was just too scared to admit it. Noah's face broke into the most beautiful smile Harper had ever seen. Yeah? Yeah. You and Mia, you've become my family. The family I thought I'd lost the right to have after my accident. You never lost that right. You just hadn't found the right people yet. And you're the right people? I'd like to think so, but that's up to you to decide. Harper thought about all the reasons she should say no, about the complications and the risks and the very real possibility of getting hurt again.
But then she thought about Saturday morning coffees and art lessons and family dinners at Anne's house. She thought about Mia's infectious laugh and Noah's gentle patience and the way they made her feel like she belonged. Okay, she said. Okay. Let's try this, for real. Not just friendship, but actually dating, actually building something together. Noah's smile could have lit up the entire city. Really? Really? But Noah, I need you to understand something. My disability isn't going away. There will be bad days, days when the pain is unbearable, when I'm frustrated and angry, when I need more help than I want to admit. Can you handle that? Can you handle mine? Because I have bad days too. Days when the grief hits me out of nowhere and I can barely function. Days when I'm short with Mia and snap at everyone. Days when I miss Emma so much I can't breathe. This goes both ways, Harper. We're both bringing baggage into this. The question is whether we're willing to help each other carry it. Harper felt something shift inside her, a wall crumbling that she'd built to protect herself. I'm willing to try. That's all I'm asking. They looked at each other for a long moment, this new understanding settling between them. Then Noah leaned forward slowly, giving Harper time to pull away if she wanted. She didn't want to. Their first kiss was gentle, tentative, full of promise and fear and hope, all tangled together. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. I should probably tell you something, Harper said. What's that? Mia asked me at the art show if I would come to her birthday party. It's next week. I know, I was planning to invite you anyway. She also asked if she could call me Aunt Harper. Noah's expression softened. What did you say? I said she should ask you first, that it was a big deal. It is a big deal. But if you're comfortable with it, I think Emma would have liked that. She always wanted Mia to have strong women in her life. You really think she'd be okay with this? With us? I know she would. She used to say that love multiplies, it doesn't divide, that there's always room for more people to love. Noah smiled sadly. She was right about that. The following week passed in a blur of giddy happiness and nervous anticipation. Noah and Harper went on their first official date, dinner at a quiet restaurant where they talked for hours and held hands across the table like teenagers. They told Mia together that they were dating, and she'd responded with an enthusiastic, "Finally! I thought you'd never figure it out." Marcus and Jasmine were equally insufferable, both claiming credit for the relationship and demanding to be in the wedding party when the time comes.
We've been dating for 1 week, Noah protested. Doesn't matter, Marcus said. I'm calling it now. You two are endgame, Anne cried when Noah told her, pulling both him and Harper into a fierce hug. I'm so happy for you both. Emma would be so happy. Mia's 8th birthday party was a chaotic, joyful affair held at Anne's house. 20 kids running around hyped up on sugar, a bounce house in the backyard, and enough decorations to make the house look like a craft store had exploded. Harper helped with setup, navigating the chaos with surprising ease. She'd worried about how the other parents would react to her. Would they stare, ask invasive questions, treat her differently? But Noah stayed close, running interference when needed, making it clear through both words and body language that Harper was his partner, not someone to be pitied or questioned. When it came time for cake, Mia insisted that Harper sit next to her. As they sang happy birthday and Mia blew out her candles, the little girl leaned over and whispered, I wish that you and Daddy would stay together forever. Harper felt her heart squeeze. That's a good wish, sweetheart. Do you think it'll come true? I think we're going to try very hard to make it come true. Mia seemed satisfied with that answer. She threw her arms around Harper's neck. I love you, Aunt Harper. Harper froze. Noah had said Mia could call her that, but hearing the words out loud was different. It made everything real in a way that both thrilled and terrified her. I love you too, Mia, Harper managed, her voice thick with emotion. Later, after most of the guests had left and Mia was showing her presents to anyone who would listen, Anne pulled Harper aside. I wanted to give you something, Anne said, pulling a small box from her pocket. I've been holding on to this, waiting for the right moment. Harper opened the box to find a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm, a small star. It was Emma's, Anne explained. She wore it every day. After she died, I kept it, thinking I'd give it to Mia when she was older, but I think Emma would want you to have it. Anne, I can't. Please, you're not replacing Emma. No one could. But you're becoming part of this family, and Emma would want you to know that you're welcome here, that we see you, we value you, and we're grateful for what you've brought to Noah and Mia's lives. Harper looked down at the bracelet, at this tangible piece of the woman whose place she was, in some ways, filling. It should have felt wrong or uncomfortable. Instead, it felt like a blessing. Thank you, Harper whispered. I'll treasure it. Anne helped her put it on, and Harper felt the weight of it on her wrist, light but significant. A reminder that love doesn't end, and families can grow to include new people without diminishing the memory of those who came before. That night, after Mia had gone to bed exhausted but happy, Noah and Harper sat on Anne's porch swing, watching the stars come out. That was a good day, Noah said. It really was. Mia seemed so happy. She was. She is. Because of you. Not just because of me. No, but you're a big part of it. She told me earlier that she feels like she has a complete family again. Not the same family as before, but complete in a different way. Harper felt tears prick her eyes. That's all I want. To be part of your family. To help make you both happy. You do. You really do. Noah turned to face her, taking both her hands. Harper, I know it's only been a few months. I know this is fast. But I've never been more certain of anything in my life. I love you. Completely. Entirely. With everything I have. I love you too, Harper said. And this time the words came easily. I love you and Mia and the life we're building together. I want to build a future with you. I want Mia to grow up with you in her life. I want Sunday dinners and art lessons and coffee dates for as long as we can have them. I want that too. I want to wake up next to you and fall asleep beside you and face whatever comes together. Harper's breath caught. Noah, are you? Not yet, not tonight, but someday, when the time is right, I'm going to ask you to marry me. And I wanted you to know that. So there's no doubt about where this is heading. Harper couldn't breathe. You want to marry me? Someday, yes. When we're both ready, when we've had time to build our foundation. But yes, Harper Lynn, I want to spend my life with you. Even knowing all my complications, all my challenges, especially knowing them. Because they're part of what makes you you, and I love all of you, not just the easy parts.
Harper pulled Noah close, kissing him with all the love and hope and gratitude she felt. When they broke apart, she was crying again, but this time they were happy tears. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, what?" "Yes, someday. Yes to building a life together. Yes to being Mia's other parent. Yes to waking up beside you and facing challenges together and all of it." Noah's smile was radiant. "You're sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything. You and Mia, you're my family now. You're my home." They sat on that porch swing for hours, talking about the future they wanted to build together. They talked about moving in together eventually, maybe buying a house with better accessibility. They talked about Mia's education and Harper's career and how to blend their lives in a way that honored the past while embracing the future. They talked about Emma too, about keeping her memory alive for Mia, about making sure she always knew she had two mothers who loved her, one in heaven and one here on earth. "I'll never try to replace her," Harper said. "I know. And that's one of the reasons I love you. You understand that Emma is part of our story. You don't see her as competition or a ghost to banish. You see her as someone who helped make us who we are. She gave you and Mia so much love. I'm grateful for that. And now you're adding your own love to what she started. That's not replacement, Harper. That's continuation." 9 months after that disastrous blind date that had started with tears and almost ended before it began, Noah took Harper back to Haven Brew Cafe. It was a Saturday morning, warm and clear, with the kind of brilliant sunshine that Seattle saved for special occasions. They sat at the same table where they'd first really talked, where two broken strangers had decided to give each other a chance. "I've been thinking about that first day," Noah said, stirring his coffee. "About how you asked me to leave before I could reject you." "Don't remind me. I was so sure you'd run." "I almost did. For about 2 seconds, I was terrified. But then I looked at you and saw someone who understood what it felt like to be scared. Someone who knew what it meant to carry weight you never asked for. And you stayed. Best decision I ever made." Harper smiled, reaching across the table to take his hand. The silver bracelet caught the light, Emma's star charm glinting. "Mine, too." "Do you remember what I signed to you that day?" "You said, 'I'm staying.' I want to add to that now, if that's okay." Harper's heart started racing. "Okay." Noah stood up, and Harper suddenly realized what was happening. He pulled a small box from his pocket and knelt down beside her wheelchair, right there in the middle of the coffee shop where they'd met. "I know I said someday," Noah began, his voice shaking slightly. "But I've realized that someday is now. Harper, you've given me and Mia more happiness than I thought possible. You've shown me that hearts can break and still find ways to love again. You've proven that family isn't just blood. It's the people who show up, who stay, who choose to love even when it's scary." Harper was crying, not caring that everyone in the cafe was now watching. "I'm not asking you to complete me or fix me or be anyone other than exactly who you are," Noah continued. "I'm asking you to build a life with me, with Mia, with all our beautiful, complicated, imperfect pieces. Harper Lynn, will you marry me?" "Yes," Harper said through her tears. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times, yes." The cafe erupted in applause as Noah slipped the ring onto her finger, a simple band with a blue sapphire, the color of the ocean on a clear day. He stood and kissed her, and Harper tasted salt from both their tears, felt his heart racing against hers, knew that this was what coming home felt like. "I love you," Noah whispered against her lips. "I love you too. I love you and Mia and this crazy beautiful life we're building." Speaking of Mia, as if on cue, the cafe door opened and Mia burst in, followed by Anne and Marcus and Jasmine, all of them grinning like conspirators. "Did you say yes?" Mia shouted, running toward them. "I said yes." Mia threw herself at Harper, nearly knocking her backward in the wheelchair. "You're going to be my mom now, my real mom." "If that's okay with you," Harper said carefully. "It's more than okay. It's perfect. Everything is perfect." Anne was crying, pulling both Noah and Harper into a hug. Marcus and Jasmine were arguing about who had actually set them up, both claiming full credit. The barista with purple hair brought them complimentary coffees and congratulated them enthusiastically. It was chaos and noise and absolutely perfect. Later that day, back at Noah's house, the house that would soon be Harper's house too, they told Mia the full story. About the blind date gone wrong, about how scared they'd both been, about how they'd almost let fear keep them apart. "But you didn't let fear win," Mia said wisely. "You were brave." "We were terrified," Harper corrected. "But you did it anyway. That's what brave means." Out of the mouths of babes, Harper thought. That night, after Mia had finally been persuaded to go to bed, only after making Harper promise approximately 17 times that she wasn't leaving, Noah and Harper sat on his couch, Harper's head on his shoulder, his arm around her waist. "Are you happy?" Noah asked softly. Harper thought about the question, thought about where she'd been a year ago, alone, convinced her life was over, unable to see past her limitations. Thought about where she was now, engaged to an incredible man, about to become a mother to a wonderful little girl, surrounded by family who loved her exactly as she was. "I'm happier than I ever thought possible," she said. "I thought the accident took everything from me, but it led me here, to you and Mia, and I wouldn't change that for anything." "Not even to have your old life back?" Harper considered this carefully. "My old life wasn't bad, but this life with you, is better than anything I could have planned. You taught me that broken things can still be whole, that ending isn't the same as over, that love can grow in the spaces left by loss. You taught me the same things. Then I guess we're pretty good for each other." The best. They sat in comfortable silence, both thinking about the journey that had brought them here, a journey that started with tears and almost ended before it began, a journey that required courage and patience and a willingness to be vulnerable even when it was terrifying. "Noah," Harper said after a while. "Yeah? Thank you for staying. That first day at the cafe when I asked you to leave, thank you for staying. Thank you for letting me, for giving us a chance. I'm glad I did." "Me too." Outside, the Seattle rain started again, gentle drops patting against the windows. But inside, Noah's house was warm and bright and full of love. The kind of love that survives tragedy. The kind of love that chooses to hope even when hope seems impossible. The kind of love that proves, again and again, that hearts can break and still find ways to open. Mia called out from her room, asking for water, and they both smiled. "I'll get it," Harper said, starting to stand. "We'll both go," Noah said, taking her hand. And they did, together, the way they'd face everything from this moment forward, hand in hand, heart to heart, choosing each other again and again, one moment at a time. Because that's what love is, Harper realized. Not a fairy tale where everything is perfect, not a tragedy where loss defines everything, but a choice to show up, to stay, to keep building something beautiful even when it's hard. A choice they'd made once on a rainy day in a coffee shop when two strangers decided to give each other a chance. A choice they'd keep making for the rest of their lives. And as Harper kissed Mia's forehead and tucked the blanket around her, as Noah stood in the doorway watching his two favorite people in the world, as they all whispered goodnight and I love you, Harper knew with absolute certainty that she was exactly where she was meant to be. Not despite the accident that had changed her life, but in some strange way because of it. Because it had led her here, to this family, to this love, to this beautiful, imperfect, absolutely perfect life. The blind date that started with tears had become a love story that would last forever. And Harper Lynn, who once thought she'd never smile again, couldn't stop smiling.